Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SportsGamer. Brandon, you're looking swole today. What a curveball. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to SportsGamer and our continued coverage of the ECL Elite Division postseason. I think you should have left him like that for the entire broadcast and we never talk about it again. We are back for our second broadcast day, kicking off our second set of quarterfinal series, kicking things off, of course, with the Blackjacks and Mustakolta, and a little bit later on, it will be Mythics taking on Voitematon. Brandon, in the first two series that we saw, 2-0 splits on both sides, as we'll get a look at the bracket here in a minute. I'm intrigued to see how these matchups go as well, because you're talking about the series, 2 versus 7, you have those matchups, right? But I'm just intrigued to see kind of how close these series end up being.
Yeah, and excuse me for getting the big hit there for a minute, Tugi, but nevertheless, I mean, I've got to agree with you. We saw two great series just on Monday, and I think we're seeing two really great series here today in a different way. Obviously, a few teams that, we're just now kind of seeing get their way into this playoff conversation consistently. Mustakolta in their first ever playoff appearance, Mythics in their second, and then two teams that are very used to this situation in the Blackjacks, who are still looking for their first playoff win, and Voitematon, who has played in countless playoff games. So it's going to be really, really fun, really, really interesting to see how both of these two series match up. Very different storylines, a couple of the hotter teams in the league playing in those series as well, in the Blackjacks and in Mythics. So going to be a lot of fun to see how this shakes out, especially with the other two series, as you mentioned, getting those 2-0 starts.
Absolutely. So again, I mentioned it. We'll take a look here at the playoff bracket at the moment to see where things stand for the teams thus far. I mentioned the other two matchups that we have. It is Parasite and Goons, the number one seed, up 2-0, although that series a little bit closer than one may have expected, while Totarit shutting down Exon's offense, to say the least, in the first two games of their series. So today we focus on the other two matchups, and tomorrow we try to cover as much of the action as possible as the series look to come to a close, as we try to find out who will be our semi-finalists. But let's take a closer look at this matchup. Again, the first two games between Mustakolta and the Blackjacks. You get a look there at the regular season numbers. Of course, both teams with a positive goal differential. Major, what stands out to me here is the special teams could be very interesting for this series.
Yeah, I mean, pretty solid penalty kill from Mustakolta versus a good power play for the Blackjacks, and then a struggling power play from Mustakolta against a struggling penalty kill for the Blackjacks. So kind of strength versus strength, weakness versus weakness, which is always kind of fun to see how that goes, just because you never know if maybe one team will step up in one of those regards. But, nevertheless, Tugi, I think the biggest thing for me, you see that 94 goals for Mustakolta. It's been not really talked about just because of how elite Parasite was offensively, but Mustakolta finished top 10 in all-time goals for per game at the end of the regular season in their first season as a team in the Elite Division. That is genuinely ridiculous to think about. And on the other side, you have the Blackjacks, who in the past have been kind of known to be a team that have been more defensive, have been a little bit inconsistent offensively, kind of found their offensive rhythm a little bit this season, which was good for them and is a big reason they were able to kind of improve their seeding in the regular season. Typically, this is a team that we see finish around the 8th seed, and they got 2 spots higher this time at 6. So going to be interesting to see how these two offenses flow. A really good offense in Mustakolta against an improved offense in TBJ.
And it's the Blackjacks who are looking for, that elusive playoff series victory as well. It's been an interesting journey for that team. And speaking of the team, let's take a look at them. The lineups for the first two games here in this series, and likely the 6 that we will see I'd imagine, across the board. For the Blackjacks, it is Kermit, Villain, and Timothy as the front three, Tony and Psycho Skills on defense, and Kosti between the pipes. On the other side, Aro, Launinen, and Alupekas as the forwards for Mustakalta, with Noir Jamal and Mise on defense, and Latve in goal. Let's take a look at those centers here, Villain and Launinen, as we get the comparison to kick things off. Of course, the regular season numbers only, because it is the first playoff game for these two. Major, we've seen it in other battles, and it looks like this is going to be pretty similar. You have the little bit more of a high scoring pace on one side, but the great equalizer could be the better face-off advantage for the other.
Yeah, and you have to remember, too, that Jervillain has been a defenseman for a lot of his career, moved up to center this season. So kind of interesting to see a lot of his defensive ability is carried over, but he also has been relatively good. I mean, it's interesting, too. You see 32 points in 24 games, and you would figure that a lot of those points are probably assists. He has 20 goals for this team, which is kind of surprising just to see that he's been one of the main goal scorers, but yet hasn't really had his puck on the stick a lot for a lot of the other goals. So it's been kind of interesting to see that. But then you have Laune, who has been so good the last two seasons. Last year was a rookie of the season candidate, just lost out on that award to his teammate in Carlson Adam. And this season, again, putting up just really steady, really consistent numbers. But you mentioned that face-off percentage. We see all the time how important winning possession can be. It's going to be interesting to see how that comes to the forefront, with Jervillain having easily one of the best face-off percentages in the league for centers this season. So going to be something to watch out for sure.
Next up, let's take a look at the four wingers in this matchup. Again, it is Kermit and Timothy going up against Aro and Alupekas. And you talk about, well, the goal scoring threats amongst the offense, and, well, every single one of these guys with at least 22 goals on the season. For the combination of Timothy and Kermit, they were off to an incredible start through, really the first week and a half of the season. The pace dropped a little bit, which is funny because all of a sudden, Major, the standard is now like, 54 points. Yeah, that's solid. Like, that used to be a really, really good point total. And now we're just seeing the offense evolve that much more. And case in point on the other side, someone like Aro, another 40 goal scorer this season of more than a handful of them.
Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like Kermit has been probably one of the more quietly consistent forwards in the league. No one really talks about him, it seems like, in terms of some of the better wingers, I think, in the elite division. But yet every time we see him, he's out there making a play, and he's doing it yet again. And you have Timothy right next to him, who always seems to kind of have himself in the mix as well. So this is a Blackjacks team that kind of had to switch things up a little bit. There isn't the same consistency in terms of the forward, Timothy being at that right wing side, and then obviously Jervillain being at that center, with Kermit being that steady presence at left wing. But you kind of mentioned it. You look at 54 points, and feels like some people kind of are like, oh, it's not a bad season, but that's pretty darn good, and I don't want that to get lost. And then you look at the other side, someone I think we have to highlight, Tugi, Ardo, 69 points, 40 goals. No one has really talked about Ardo all that much, just because of how many players in front of him have seemed to kind of really step up in terms of the goal scoring on Parasite. But Ardo has 40 goals this season, which finished second among all skaters. So he was the second best goal scorer, only behind Vatu, who put up 65. So you can't really compare him to that. And then Alupekas is right next to him. I think someone that's a rookie of the season candidate, a captain for this team as well. So four really, really good wingers that all have very good scoring ability. Going to be interested to see who's able to step up here throughout the series.
Next up, it is the four defenders in this matchup, Noir Jamal and Mise, going up against Tony and Psycho Skills. Psycho Skills, again, was up there for defenders in terms of the points he was able to produce. The pace dropped a little bit throughout the season. I mean, Major, I think it was through the first week or two, he was top 5 in general scoring, not just amongst defenders. So we know what he's capable of. And in terms of looking at this defensive combination, what stands out for me is the lack of physicality. I would expect it to be a pretty trap-heavy series.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. You mentioned Psycho Skills, how good he is offensively. He ended up being tied third for all defensemen in points, but he's elite defensively as well. He led the division in interceptions with 225, and he was the only player in the entire league that ended up with more than 200 interceptions. So there's few players that are able to disrupt plays as well as he is, and he also had one of the league's best takeaway numbers with 98 this season. So as good as he is offensively, he's just as good on the defensive end. He's going to be on the side of Ardo, who we mentioned has 40 goals this season for Mustakulta. So that matchup, that one-on-one, is going to be really, really fun to look out for. But you mentioned Mise and Naryamal, two guys that really have stepped up, both transfers for this Mustakulta team, two guys that kind of had to get that chemistry going early, and they have so far. They both have been really, really good for this team. Naryamal, even a rookie to this division, but had 29 assists for his 31 points with 148 interceptions of his own. So the defensive pairs for both these two teams, I think two of the better ones you could have in the elite division. Tony, obviously a very good defender as well. It's going to be fun to see how each of these two sides really can step up against, again, what are two very good offenses that like to shoot the puck a lot.
And of course, our final head-to-head is the Battle of the Goaltenders, as we are just a few moments away from puck drop to kick off this series. Kosti and Latve going head-to-head. Major, I mean, obviously a strong season for both of these two. For Kosti, a very experienced goaltender at this level. Latve, though, a very impressive season, especially too with the 4 shutouts.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw Latvic earlier in the season, and I think he was at a 91 save percentage through like 7 or 8 games. I mean, it was ridiculous what he was doing early on in the season. Obviously, the save percentage rather took a little bit of the dip at the end of the season just because Mustakulta struggled during their last 5 or 6 games, but still 81.5 save percentage, right around where a lot of the top end goalies in the league were this season. Then 4 shutouts as well, which was one of the highest numbers in the league. Kosti is someone else I really am interested to see how he plays. Didn't get that 80 save percentage, but just a little bit under that. But we've seen him in the past really step up, really be someone that can change a game with the way he's able to make those big saves and read the play. These two goalies are goalies that can steal games for you potentially. So I'm excited to see which of them step up.
Again, we are just about ready to go to kick off the action. The first 2 games of this opening round matchup between Mustakulta and the Blackjacks. And again, a little bit later on, it'll be the battle of 4 versus 5. Voitimatone and Mythics playing their first 2 games. But you get a look there at the teams in the lobby, or at least half of them at any given time. And in terms of the builds, again, a lot of what you would have expected, right? I think that's been, the theme throughout the season. Majors, a lot of people, really kind of finding what works for them. But there's a decent amount of different options being used, as opposed to, years gone by where it's playmaker and, puck moving defenseman on the wings.
Yeah, I feel like you're starting to maybe see people kind of hone in more on what their build is based on what they feel works for them. The offense in this game has just been so enhanced compared to past games to where it feels like there's a little bit less of that meta. There's still some of it there, but I don't think there is as much of it as we saw in the past. So always fun to kind of get a look at those builds and see who's rocking what.
Here we go. Our opening game of this series is underway. This is the Blackjacks with the first shot on net. Very interesting jersey setup for them. I gotta admit, Mustakulta, of course, darker unis for this one. As down the other way, Aro into the attacking zone. Nowhere to go on that attempt. As Tony has to kick it into the middle. Defense was there to take it away. Mise up ahead for Aro. Has speed, has space, and just misses wide. Major Aro's one of those guys that just the positioning and the way he's able to find space. But here's Timothy looking to do the same. Does get that shot on net. But a big save down the other way. It's over the line again. Launen, the shot stopped and covered by Kosti.
And we talked about Kosti, someone that we really think could step up and be an impact for this Blackjacks team, and that's going to be critical for the Blackjacks against the Musta Kulta team. Like we said, second highest goal scoring team in the league during the regular season. So they're going to need big saves. The big save there from Costi early.
As Timothy back for Tony at the point. Up around Kermit. And hold on to it through the physicality. Gets it back. Tony, Timothy in front. They score. Phenomenal, near full team effort for the Blackjacks. They have the opening goal of this series, and Major, you called them out. It's Villain in front.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and I think every single player on the Blackjacks touched the puck on that play. I mean, absolutely spectacular puck movement, but a great defensive play as well by the left winger of Kermit to get that puck off of the Musta Kulta skater, which caused the turnover and gave them another chance for that possession, and it leads to that goal right there from, as you mentioned, Villain, who, despite only having 32 points, had 20 goals during the regular season, so he might not be someone that gets himself on the score sheet often, but when he does, it's impactful. He's typically the beneficiary of it. Was again there. Blackjack strike first in this series.
Musta Kulta in possession here in the aftermath of the goal. They're able to find a bit of a quick response. Puck down low, quickly into the attacking zone. Well by Tony. Psycho Skills up ahead to Timothy. Throws one towards goal on the saucer pass. Dangerous chance created. I like it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting to kind of see how the Blackjacks have started out this game so far. It feels like they've really been the aggressor, and you're seeing that in the shots. 4-1 so far in favor of TDJ.
As Alopekas carries in, Tony again busy on that left side, shutting things down. Kulta back in possession. This one rifled towards goal. Costi plays it out, but ultimately turns it over. As back in front, crucial bit of contact there. Stops Launinen from shooting a high danger spot. Villain elects not to try and hold the line. They'll reset. Psycho Skills over the line, loses the puck. Here's Aro, full head of steam down the other way, sends it in front, they score!
Well, that was an interesting little play there, Toogie. I mean, Aro kind of passed it across, and it ended up going on the stick of the left defender of Psycho Skills, and he kind of just swept it in. It almost looked like he shot it, weirdly enough. That was a weird one. You can tell it was an own goal, too, because we didn't get a replay on it. That's why I was kind of waiting to see, but wow, a huge goal there to turn the momentum for Musta Kulta, who didn't even register a shot on that goal either.
Shot there from Kermit, the opportunity down the other way. Honestly, I was waiting for the one of the longest goal horns in the entirety of the ECL to wrap up. It just kind of lended perfectly there to getting a look, or not getting a look, I should say, with the replay. There is a delayed call here. There's a chance in front, just wide of the post. Costi down, wraparound denied. Called the shot just wide of the post as it hit the traffic in front. So a power play coming up here, and a big moment in this game early on, Major. The center heading to the box.
Yeah, and that's huge there for Musta Kulta, because we talked about Villain and his face-off percentage, 54.7%. That's massive, because that's going to force Timothy now to have to go to the dot and try to win face-offs against Alaune. So something to look out for. And this is a big opportunity just for Musta Kulta as an offense. They've not had much going so far in this first period, so let's see if they can maybe get something here with this power play opportunity.
We've seen the dangerous counterattack that they have, led by Aro. Let's see how dangerous that power play could be, and unfortunately for them, early stages, not very for the first 30 seconds, but still a ways to go. As Mise over the line, trying to hold on to possession. Tony takes it away again. They're going to try to make something happen. Short-handed, Tony going for it, has the puck low, trying to get that blocker side post, just couldn't do it. We'll see if the risk was worth it. Alopekas loses it to Psycho Skills. Timothy back to him. Puck sent out, and this has been a near perfect penalty kill. I think the only thing you could have asked for was a shorthanded goal. We're back to 5-on-5 in the final few seconds. Launen throws it in front. Big save on the chance from Alupekas to bring this opening period to a close. Major a goal for each side. Interesting way to kick off this game.
Very interesting. Feels like we saw a little bit of everything really throughout that first 20 minutes. And you mentioned that PK there from the Blackjacks, really impressive. They were the second worst penalty kill during the regular season at just around 64%. So really impressive to see how they were able to slow down Mustakolta. But nevertheless, I think we saw a lot from both sides, really. I think the Blackjacks won that period for sure, despite it being a tie game. That beautiful play that we saw set up right there in front. And then the Mustakolta side that really kind of struggled to find the rhythm, it feels like. And you got to remember, this is a team that, despite the great record, despite being a team that really has impressed so far this season, did struggle down the stretch. 3-7 in their last 10 games. And one of those losses, only one of those 7 losses rather, were in overtime. So this is a team that struggled just a little bit at the end of the regular season. So maybe starting to become a little concerned that some of those struggles that they saw at the end of December creeping in here to early January. But nevertheless, still a lot of time in this game, a lot of talent on that Mustakolta side. But the Blackjacks so far, I think, really controlling the way this game one has gone.
As we get ready for the second period of play, as always, the action brought to you by our friends at Kovalan Lakritsi. It is game 1 in this best-of-7 series, the quarter-final round of our Elite Division playoffs. Shot from Tony, blocked down there. Again, we'll be playing the first 2 games of this series. We're on this broadcast as Mustakolta have another one. Alupekas starts off the second period with a goal in the opening minute and 20 seconds.
And Tugi was a big block shot right there from the right defenseman in Mise that started that on the defensive end, and that's why block shots can be so important. It ended up being an opportunity on the other end, and then you have Alupekas over on that right side, who, as I mentioned, someone I think should get a lot of consideration for Rookie of the Season, burying that goal on the one-time play, and all of a sudden, despite all of the struggles to start this game, Mustakolta up 2-1.
We continue on. A reminder, of course, as well, we have our second matchup, the Battle of 4 versus 5, the first 2 games of that series, Voitimaton and Mythics, a bit later on today. And of course, we will be back tomorrow night as well with our concluding coverage of this quarterfinal round. Shot from Psycho Skills, blocked down by Aro, and here he goes on the counterattack, full steam ahead. Big shot, better save by Costi. Battle along the half wall, Mise. Get it back to Alupekas, sends it down low, just out of reach of Aro. Onanen's there to recover, but here's the counterattack. Kermit's not going to have the speed here, goes for the protect, sends it across. The pass was off the mark.
Good idea, just nobody home for that one. A little bit behind.
Mustakolta will slow things down here, get some stamina back. Here's Aro again in front, a battle for it. Blackjacks end up with it. As Timothy takes the hip check from Aro. Alupekas back to him. Great protection from Aro. A pass, nobody home, maybe even potentially off the back wall. I don't put it past him. As Psycho Skills sends this one low. Kermit's there. Or Timothy, and wanted the extra pass. Think he had a good shooting opportunity there. Mustakolta nearly walked away with it. They do have it now, but mistimed at the line.
Yeah, just the timing a little bit off on that one, as you mentioned, Tugi, but it feels like all of a sudden this game has kind of shifted in terms of the momentum. I mean, the Blackjacks getting some chances, but give Mustakolta a lot of credit. They've really slowed them down ever since that start earlier in the game where the shots were 4-1 in favor of the Blackjacks. So Mustakolta, they've adjusted something on the defensive end, and it's working out for them well so far.
Quick movement here from the Blackjacks, but the pass picked off. Going for Timothy. The skills right back to him. Passes down low now again to the point. Held mostly to the perimeter here. Timothy not able to get that pass through. Forward still in the attacking zone here. A high press. Mise for Alupekas not able to hold on to it cleanly. Then recovers and defensive side of things taking over a little bit. Here's Tony in front, and Timothy not able to get a ton on that. And then across, they score! A goal so nice, Major. He scored nearly the same thing twice. 2 goals in the period as Mustakolta add to their lead.
And look at all that space that he had there, too. Alupekas, he went all the way over to the boards, and there wasn't anyone within yards of him. The Blackjacks kind of just got committed towards that middle, and the pass was able to squeak through. Alupekas used that space that he had to skate towards it, got that one-time shot, and it really wasn't even a true one-time, more of just a pickup of the puck and an immediate wrister that was able to beat Kosti. So a nice play there from Mustakolta, and all of a sudden, like we said, the game is just kind of turned on its head from Mustakolta trying to find the rhythm and the Blackjacks controlling the game with their cycle to Mustakolta really just capitalizing on any and every chance they can get.
3-1 now. Mustakolta may not be done. We saw in the pregame the prolific offense they were able to put up this season. As Timothy, a low shot. Loved and covered by Latve.
We haven't talked about Latve much, but he's been solid so far to start this game. A good first goal the Blackjacks got to really open the game up, but ever since then, it's been pretty much all Latve. Someone that we talked about, again, one of the better goalies so far in the league, and just his first season in this division.
It's been wrapped around. Mustakolta trying to get that zone exit. They're not able to do so, at least with possession. As Timothy, another shot, forcing a freeze out of Latve.
And I don't mind that from the Blackjacks. Put that puck on net and see what can happen. You never know how you'll maybe get rewarded, you know? I mean, we saw Ardo's first goal was literally just him kind of passing it towards the goalie, and it just found its way in accidentally through a defender. So you never know what can happen when you put that puck in a dangerous area. So why not put that shot on net and see if you can get rewarded?
We have just 1 minute to go here in the second period. On an Imperaro, he scores! It can happen that quickly, Major. Just a little bit of space, and they take advantage of it. 4-1 for Mustakolta.
And the patience from Mustakolta to start that play. I mean, they literally were in their own zone, and all 5 skaters were just not moving. They just sat there together until they were ready. The Blackjacks kind of sat there with them, not really knowing what to do, whether they should attack, whether they should stay in defensive position. And Mustakolta, they went on the rush and immediately got an opportunity and immediately scored with Ardo. I mean, the patience of this team is just so fun to watch. It rewards them with a 4th goal right there.
The final moments of this period, it started off hot for the Blackjacks with the opening goal of the game, but make it 4 unanswered, 3 in the second period for Mustakolta. And they're in control, Major, heading into the third.
They're in control, and rightfully so, with the way they've played so far after that first period. I mean, that was really all Mustakolta. It felt like in that second period in terms of opportunities, in terms of just the way the game went. And I mean, the Blackjacks, I think that they played their style. I mean, they were able to cycle the puck a good bit. They were able to find a couple of decent opportunities, but really nothing high danger or high quality that Latve wasn't able to save rather easily. So for the Blackjacks, it's just a matter of, can you find those opportunities? Can you get those more dangerous scoring chances? Well, for Mustakolta, you just got to keep doing what you're doing right now. I mean, they have really found the rhythm. They've really found that offensive touch that they had been looking for in that first period that they didn't really have. It's just so interesting how these games can change on its head, Tugi. I mean, we started out this game with TBJ kind of being the dominant team, and then all of a sudden it sways all the way towards the opposite end of the spectrum with Mustakolta being all over them.
We get ready for the third period again. Game number 1 of this best of 7. Game 2 coming up in the aftermath of this game right here on this broadcast before we switch our coverage over to the first two games of Voitimatone and Mythics. For now, we wait to see if the Blackjacks are able to find a little bit of a comeback here. Not going to have a ton of time to do it, but hey, Mustakolta scored 3 in the second period. Certainly possible for them to score 3 here in the third. There from Villain to break things up. Tony an interception. Blackjacks down the other way. Interception there for Alopekas. Aro. Really back over the line. Tony was there. Psycho Skills tries to cut in. Bumped off the puck. Villain looking to cover for him at the point. Psycho Skills a shot on net. Saved by Latve. Villain, of course, you know, you always talk about, hey, you play defense and everything, but for a lot of the teams, you know, that have that ability, I mean, it makes it that much easier, Major, for teams to cycle through. What a poke check there by Tony. But, you know, when you have someone who has that defensive experience back there, you're a little bit more confident in your defenders stepping up into the play.
Yeah, and you know, something that you have to remember too is that Jervillain was also an addition to this team. He came over from Deadly Phantoms, who have obviously spent a while in the pro division. So not only is he someone that has really stepped up for this Blackjacks team, but he's playing his first Elite Division season since ECL 9. So he's adjusted very quickly and rather seamlessly with this team, but also to the division, and it's been an impact so far.
Phantoms definitely missed him this season down in the pro division. We have 11 minutes left here in regulation. Still a 4-1 lead as Psycho Skills able to get around Aro this time. Bouncing puck. Now Alopekas over the line. Avoids Tony on this occasion. Sends it across. Aro tried to go back down low. Interception. Shot towards goal. And in front. Kick low to Aro. Nearly got in front. He did get it right back. And a big save by Costi. Lone Finn of the Blackjacks lineup here. As Mise, good protection as well. Wanted the quick wrap. A good save there. 7.5 to go. The Blackjacks running out of time.
Running out of time and a big deficit to have to climb their way out of, being down by 3 goals in the middle of the late stages here in this third period, and Mustakolta kind of controlling the possession, which if you're MK, that's really all you have to do. You just have to control the possession, avoid mistakes, not allow the Blackjacks to get any easy opportunities, and really this game one should more than likely be yours. And so far, they're doing exactly that, just continuing to play their game, dominating the possession, and not giving the Blackjacks much of anything on the other side to counter with.
7:36 remaining. Time face off here. 1 for Mustakolta. Glove stop for Costi. Not too much time ticks away, but any bit of time off the clock. Good news for Mustakolta. Off the draw, the Blackjacks in control. Long though, Mustakolta able to get this puck back. A little bit of trouble in their own zone. Kermit in on the attack. Villain as well, trying to get that puck back. And the Blackjacks running out of time.
It's what you got to do, though, if you're the Blackjacks. Apply that pressure. Try to force that turnover to get something quick.
Alopekas stripped of the puck by Tony and has it poked away. Aro takes a hard hit. Numbers here. The Blackjacks, Timothy for Villain. Back again. Great glove save by Latve.
And Latve has been phenomenal when called upon. 11 saves on 12 shots. It just feels like we haven't really talked about him a ton, but he's been really good and has answered the call whenever the Blackjacks have tested him. So give him some credit too. He has just as much to do with this Mustakolta lead than anyone else does. So a lot of credit going to him. And we talked about him earlier too. He's someone that I think early in the season was arguably the favorite for goaltender of the year with how phenomenal he was playing. The stats dropped off a little bit at the end of the season, but that ability did not. He's showing it right now.
Face-off win yet again for Mustakolta. As Mise, good cut at the line, steps in, not to shoot. Aro tries the short side. A big save there for Costi again to keep this game, well, technically within reach, but we have hit the final 2 minutes. Either side able to add to their goal total. Mustakolta, they're not feeling too bad about that. Alupekas down low. Pass picked off by Psycho Skills. 52 seconds remain. Poke check by Aro. Timothy able to recover. Tries the odd angle shot. Ends up behind the goal. As Mise able to draw the penalty. Hermit heads to the box. And that, if it wasn't already done, well, that will basically do it.
Yeah, if you had any doubt about Mustakolta finishing this thing off, that one right there should put it to rest. The big draw there from Mise as he was trying to escape the boards. And I mean, you know, an unfortunate penalty for the Blackjacks, but in this situation, you're down by 3, there's less than a minute left. You know, the reward of being able to get that poke and a turnover to go down the other end is higher than the risk of taking a penalty and being down 4 instead of being down 3. So, you know, an unfortunate penalty for the Blackjacks, but a great job there for Mustakolta to draw it.
And then for Aro, he scores! 40 goals in the regular season, and he kicks off the playoffs with a hat trick here in game number 1.
One of the best goal scorers in Europe for a reason, Tugi, and Aro's showing you why right now. You mentioned the 40-goal regular season. That was second in the league, only behind Vatu for Parasite. He's got 3 in just one playoff game now, and that one just Mustakolta finding their way past the defense and taking advantage of the strength in numbers. Ardo with a nice job selling that forehand to go backhand. Costi not able to stick with it, just beats him there high. And Ardo, another phenomenal goal scoring performance. I mean, how many times have we seen this from him over the last few seasons? He does it again, and him and his Mustakolta squad look on their way to a 1-0 series lead.
Line. Blackjacks looking for a little bit of a momentum builder late in this one, but it could get worse. One's going to try to make something happen here, and Nawari Jamal takes that one away. Issei stripped of the puck by Tony. 5 seconds left. One more poke check. We'll end this game with a jump deke and a 5-1 victory for Mustakolta to kick off this series.
And I don't think they could have asked for a much better way to start this series out than to not just win, but to win the way they did. Wasn't their best first period by any means, but they were able to, you know, kind of find their way into that one goal. And after that, it just felt like the Blackjacks didn't really have a whole lot of answers. Mustakolta dominated the possession. They dominated the bulk of opportunities and really just kind of took the game over. Ardo with his 3 goals, Alupekas with a pair. Really, everyone kind of stepped up and did something to impact this game for Mustakolta. Latve with a near shutout in this one as well. So just a stellar performance from a team that's been just stellar all season. A team that, again, is just in its first season in the Elite Division. But, Tugi, I think it's safe to say Mustakolta, they don't just belong. They look well at home as one of the top teams in this division right now. Obviously, a long way to go in this series, a long way to go in the playoffs. But first playoff game in the Elite Division, and you win 5-1 against a team that is one of the more experienced ones in the league. Not too bad, if you must say so yourself.
Game 1 to Mustakolta, 5-1. The final scores, we'll get a look at the stats for the end of the game. But again, the hat trick for Aro. One of our keys heading into this game was, you know, the face-offs as well. And ultimately, it was a good performance there for Villain, but it just did not translate to any extra success here for the Blackjacks as we get a look at their lone goal of the game right there.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about the face-offs, Tugi, and they're obviously big, but you still have to take advantage of them, right? Just because you win that possession doesn't mean that it's going to guarantee that you'll be able to do anything with it. And I think that's really what hindered the Blackjacks, is that it felt like even though they were able to win some possessions, they just weren't able to really do a whole lot to take advantage of it. And realistically, when you're not able to take advantage of that, you just kind of find your way into a situation like this to where the momentum ends up kind of going against you. Mustakulta ended up finding their rhythm despite not winning a lot of face-offs, and it led to those opportunities that gave them 5 goals. And the Blackjacks pretty much held stagnant after that lone goal that they got early in the game.
Again, a big game 1 victory for Mustakulta. We'll see if that happens to repeat itself in game number 2, which is coming up again on the other side of this break. So stick with us. More action still to come.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
As Tony has to kick it into the middle. Defense was there to take it away. Mise up ahead for Aro. Has speed, has space, and just for the Blackjacks. They have the opening goal of this series, and Major, you called them out. It's head of steam down the other way. Sends it in front. They score. Or not getting looked, I should say, with the replay. There is a delayed call here. There's a chance in front, just wide of the post. Costi down, wraparound. They're going to try to make something happen. Short-handed Tony going for it. Has the puck low. Trying to get that blocker side post just back to 5-on-5 in the final few seconds. Out and in, throws it in front. Big save on the chance. Romano Pekkas to shot from Tony, blocked down there. Again, we'll be playing the first 2 games of this series. Run this broadcast as Mustakulta
start that on the defensive end, and that's why block shots can be so important. It ended up being an opportunity on the other end, and then you have Alu Pekkas over on that right side.
Shot from Psycho Skills, blocked down by Aro, and here he goes on the counterattack, full steam ahead. Big shot, better save. And then across they score. Be able to do so at least with possession. Timothy, another shot in the second period. And then Ferraro, he scores. The line avoids Tony on this occasion, sends it across. Ferraro tried to go back down low, interception, shot towards goal here. As Mise, good protection as well, wanted the quick wrap. 7:36 remaining. And face off here, 1 for Mustakulta. Glove stop for Costi.
Penalty for the Blackjacks, but a great job there for Mustakulta to draw it.
And then for Aro, he scores. We'll end this game with a jump deke and a 5-1 victory for Mustakulta to kick off this series.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
And we are back, everybody. And as you can see, we're just about ready to go for game number 2. Again, a 4-1 win for Mustakalta in that last game. And Meja, as we get ready for this one, obviously for the Blackjacks, it's a big-time game. You do not want to fall too far behind in a series early, and it would be our 3rd straight series with a 2-0 lead to kick it off.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind too, we know how good the Blackjacks have been when they've had their home server in past seasons, so how much does that affect Mustakalta here in this game? Going to be just something to keep an eye on here as we get this one started.
Going over the line, a pass that was off the mark, but on target. Of course, is a cover out of Latvia.
And it feels like kind of a similar start so far what we saw to game 1, the Blackjacks being the aggressor and Mustakalta kind of on their heels a little bit. We saw how they ended up. The question is, can the Blackjacks continue it?
And another frozen puck. 2 quick shots here for the Blackjacks. Honestly, that might be the best way to go in this particular game, is just get shots on net. As Mise over the line. Poke check by Tony. It's up the Blackjacks down the other way. Kermit. And a between the legs move found its way to Timothy. And another save early on here for Latvia.
Yeah, he's had to make a few here early in this game. He's had to really step up and be on his toes because the Blackjacks have really come out firing on all cylinders. They're shooting the puck anywhere and everywhere they can.
Good block there. Full pressure active for the Blackjacks. They need to get the puck back in the zone quickly, and they do. Here's Kermit, short side. He scores! Just what the doctor ordered, Major.
Just what the doctor ordered indeed, too. Exactly what the Blackjacks needed as Kermit got that space, kind of a partial breakaway there. Looked like that was going to be a save there for Latvex, but just could not get all of that puck. Trickles its way in past that left pass. This is an even better look at it right here. It was actually the glove, just didn't get all of it and then trickled in off of that pad and bounces his way in. A pretty clunky goal, but nevertheless, Kermit was able to get behind the defense, and that's what led to that opportunity. So may have not been the prettiest way for it to fall into the net, but still earned that goal nevertheless. Gives Blackjacks that 1-0 lead to start this game out.
We saw that in the prior game as well, with the Blackjacks scoring first, but they were not able to find that insurance marker. And of course, Mustakalta began to run away with it as the game went on. Tony denied, cycle skills. The shot, they score! Timothy gets a piece of it on a shot from the point, and there is that insurance marker. The Blackjacks make it 2-0.
Took them 5 minutes to score more goals in this game than they did in all of game 1. And how about that just subtle little tip there right in front from Timothy? And it was Psycho Skills, a really flat shot. And I mean, that is just a crazy directional tip. No chance for Latvex to be able to save that. And all of a sudden, the Blackjacks up 2-0. Mustakalta really going to have to dig their heels in here and try to find something offensively, because the Blackjacks, they've controlled this game. They've hemmed them in their own zone. Just a wild difference here between what we saw throughout most of game 1 and what we saw through the first 7 minutes here of game 2.
Offside call here this time. And goals for the winger duo, Timothy and Kermit in this one. 3 forwards now for the Blackjacks have a goal in this postseason. Look at the responses from Mustakalta. Here's Alopekas right down the middle. That one knocked away. It went off the pad of Kosti. He's able to cover.
And Mustakulta just trying to find something here. They needed to get in the offensive zone. This is their chance. But remember, we talked about the face-off differential between the two.
Aro able to recover this puck. Tried to get a shot on. Villain was able to disrupt it. There's Autopekas as well. That one took a deflection. Costi able to track it down.
And that's what Mustakulta needs. Stay in the offensive zone, create opportunities, just try to find something to stave off the momentum that the Blackjacks have gathered themselves and hope that they can lead to a goal and maybe cut that lead in half.
And sent around. Blackjacks can get back into the attacking zone, but they mistime it here. They have another offside.
Yeah, it's just, again, just really, really similar to how game one started, right? The Blackjacks just firing away to start the game. They get that early goal. Only this time they have 2 goals that Mustakulta will have to come back from. So it's just kind of crazy to see how deja vu this game has been overall, just in the way this one has started in terms of the pacing and the game style.
Shot attempt there, deflects away. Psycho skills for Timothy. Kermit now down low. See again, short side attempts. Covered behind the goal line. Side here. Job by the Blackjacks, at least clearing the zone. Mustakulta really haven't been able to get established. Aryamal gets that one into the attacking zone. Space here for Kermit. He is gone. Breakaway. Scores. And an instant pause for Mustakulta, but the Blackjacks have made it 3-0 here in the first period. 3 goals on 7 shots, Major.
What a response from the Blackjacks after a really tough game one. I mean, you could not have asked really for a more perfect response, I think, if you're a Blackjacks fan. And Kermit just got behind the defense there. I mean, it all started with the turnover there. Tony was able to get that puck, and then Kermit just kind of took off once he got it off there after it was loose, and there was no Mustakulta defender that could keep up with him. Beats Latvex on that breakaway, and I like the timeout from Mustakulta. You just have to find a way to just try to calm things down, not just momentum-wise, but just to get yourselves regathered. So, you know, we talked about it, the Blackjacks, when they have that home server advantage, that's a different looking team. It really is something that gives them a massive advantage. We've seen it in the past in playoff series, and we're seeing it again potentially right now. Mustakulta looks very bothered and very uncomfortable on both ends.
5.5 minutes to go here in the first. A 3-0 lead for the home side. They will ice the puck here. Sets up Mustakulta with a chance. I think it's something else going here. Face off. Dylan got the advantage in game number 1. Gets a clean win here. You talk about the server disadvantage. I mean, that's a troubling sign. Kermit has the puck here. I was going to say Dylan with the chance to really take advantage of the draws in this series, given that he won the majority of the face-offs on the road in game 1. Kermit will reverse this one. Blackjacks have no problem taking their time on this break-in. Here's Tony. Find Timothy. The final 90 seconds of this opening period. A role reversal from game number 1. Loudon not able to shoot. Just unable to dump this one in. Hip check there from Tony. One more rush. All Mustakulta to have time for, but they're not able to time it at the line. It's another offside.
Again, not sure if it's connection or just Mustakulta just losing their rhythm, it feels like, ever since that last game, but just, again, not on the same page and just not much going offensively.
Final 2 seconds, and that will do it. A tremendous start to game number 2 as the Blackjacks put 3 on the board in the opening 20 minutes.
And a great start. I mean, really perfect start for the Blackjacks in every single way there, Toogie. I mean, we saw them really step up defensively. Their offense was flowing, scored in pretty much every way, scored on the cycle, scored on the breakaway, and then really just didn't allow Mustakulta to have any opportunities of their own. I mean, we saw it just one shot on net during the entirety of that first period. I mean, I'm not sure if this has maybe changed since that pause, but last time I saw, Mustakulta didn't have a minute of time to attack, and looks like they just surpassed the minute by 4 seconds, but still a massive possession advantage for the Blackjacks as well. 9 faceoffs won compared to 4. I mean, Mustakulta, they just have got to find a way to get a little bit of their mojo back. We saw them step up well in the second and third period and get better as game 1 went on, but a pretty large hole they're going to have to climb themselves out of, and they're going to have to repeat that performance that we just saw from them a game ago to do it.
We'll see if Mustakulta are able to battle back here. Second period about ready to begin. As always, action here following the ECL brought to you by our friends at Kovalon Lockritzy. Mustakulta got the win in game 1 of this best of 7, but they have their work cut out for them as game 2 continues on. Tony finds Timothy up the middle. Down for Kermit. Now Psycho Skills. Back for Kermit. Here's Timothy again. Tries to throw it through, not able to do so. Alta trying to get in on the attack. Nowhere to go. Skills looking to step up. Gets wiped out at the blue line. Again, the second Mustakulta get into the attacking zone, there is just no space for them to operate.
I think that's what's most noticeable. It's just the Blackjacks are kind of closing everything off. I mean, we haven't called Ardo's name at all. We haven't called out Lepeka's name. It's been just so quiet. They just can't get anything going, and the Blackjacks are shutting everything off.
There it is yet again. I mean, a swing and a miss on a 1T is the dangerous threat they had there. Good pick off. Yamal Alupekas into the attacking zone. Aro off the goaltender's pads all the way out of the zone. All back into the attacking zone, but not for long. Timothy. Dylan now to Tony, and miscommunication there for the Blackjacks as we approach the midway point of the second period, and result of the game still a 3-0 lead.
And now for the Blackjacks, really all they really need to do is just continue to hold on. You don't have to really score too much more with the way you're defending. So if they can just continue to play this game where they're controlling the possession, and when Mustakulta has possession, not really allowing them to get anything going, 3 goals could very well be enough for them. But you see, they're still looking to push more, and I don't blame them.
And not able to hold on to the puck. A little bit of space here now for Mustakulta. First time in the game. Low shot. Good save by Costi. Shot into traffic. Launinen has it blocked by Psycho Skills. Zone time here for Mustakulta, but commentator's curse exists there. Foot race for the puck without an icing. Able to get that pass up ahead. Mustakulta looking to reset. They go for the dump and chase. Spot on for in the corner. Now to the other side. Aro tries to get it back to the point. Actually lost the puck. And again, Mustakulta going to be forced to reset. Alupekas with speed. Has it down low. And not much for Mustakulta there. Try to keep it alive with a hit. This pass off the mark. Funny bounce towards goal. Lave will hold.
And again, just the Blackjacks continuing to kind of have that possession game in their favor. Latve able to get that hold, but still an offensive zone draw coming for a Blackjacks team that have been really, really good, really dominant on the draws all season long, including this series so far. So from Mustakulta just still searching and trying to find some sort of answer here.
Mustakulta trying to get something going. 5 minutes left. In the second, still in need of their opening goal of the game. Nice shot there. Launinen, that's kicked away. A pass for Timothy on the counterattack. Kermit. Tony at the point. Back to him for the one-timer. Good save there. Latve, and a crucial one at that. Again, the team in front of him, just 3 shots on goal. Another goal against would almost certainly end this game.
Yeah, Latve's going to have to be near perfect here. I mean, Mustakolta team, as you mentioned, just not a whole lot of offensive generation. And Latvex has done a good job of just keeping his guys in it. If you go down by 4, just have a hard time seeing them come back from that sort of deficit.
Good shot there, denied. Bouncing puck in front. Costi able to hold on to it.
That's what Mustakolta needs to do. Just continue to try to find anything you can. I mean, any shot on is good at this point. You never know which one might trickle in. That's what happened for their first goal, and that ended up leading to 3 more right after. So you just never know. Continue to put that puck on them and see what can happen for you.
Take those skills down. Vertical line for Kermit. Double team pressure, still holding on. Delta again able to regain. Zaro steps in. Can't finish the move this time. Kermit for Villain, over for Timothy. More attack here for Mustakolta. A few seconds up in the period, they score! And we talked about what the Blackjacks needed so desperately to start the game. Well, Major, that's what Mustakolta needed heading into the 3rd period. They finally find a way through, and it's the defenders stepping up into the play to get it.
Yeah, how about that? Nari Yamal, only 2 goals during the regular season. We don't see Mustakolta really have their defenders go in for those goal opportunities, but they do right there, and it leads to a massive play that they oh so desperately needed. Cuts that lead down to 2, and now all of a sudden, Tugi, the story and the narrative gets a little tighter here going into this 3rd period.
Maybe even one more chance. Zaro has it poked away. And that will do it. So a 3-1 lead now for the Blackjacks heading into the 3rd. Mustakolta proving they can get on the board.
Yeah, and as we said, just so desperately needed that Mustakolta. I mean, that was a massive, massive goal, and you get a look at the replay. What a pass, just able to sneak that through. Costi not able to get over that left side post in time. And Nari Yamal just able to finish it in. But, you know, you kind of look at the stats too, and the Blackjacks didn't really have a whole lot of offensive generation. I mean, sure, they had a little bit of offensive zone time, but 7 of those 8 shots came into the 1st period. So they only had 1 shot throughout the entirety of that 2nd period. Mustakolta on the other end had 4 shots. So it kind of goes to show you that things have evened up just a little bit in terms of the possession, but in terms of just quality offensive chances, Mustakolta really just getting their first one there, and it resulted in a goal. So still some game left, still an opportunity for Mustakolta, and we'll see if they maybe make a game out of this, or if the Blackjacks can go ahead and close this thing out and give us our first tied series heading into next week.
3rd period underway. Here in game number 2, although not for long, just 12 seconds for the first stoppage with an offside call. Again, it is just our first matchup on our broadcast here. The action will continue. Mythics taking on Voitamaton. First 2 games of that series, and of course we'll be right back here tomorrow as well. Normally, our weekly broadcast schedule, Mondays and Wednesdays for the Elite Division, Tuesdays for the Pro, but of course we have the extra day of coverage right here tomorrow. We're not able to get that shot on, as we will cover the conclusion of the series. And the conclusion of this game could be incredibly interesting, as Mustakolta make it 2 straight goals, and we have ourselves that much closer of a hockey game.
Don't look now, but Mustakolta right back in this game, Tugi. You said it. That was a massive goal to end the period, and now they get a massive goal to start the period from down 3 to down 1. And a nice job there from Laune to just kind of get behind the defense. Beautiful pass to squeak it over to him. And Costi not able to make the save to keep things at bay. So now Mustakolta has to be feeling really good. You got a lot of time, 18 minutes to get 1 goal, and all of a sudden, the pressure's shifting to the Blackjacks when they haven't had a whole lot of shots in the last 20 minutes plus.
Trying to get going back here in the attacking zone. Down low, not able to do much. Confidence now for Mustakalta. Here comes Aro with pace. Gets it across. Loose puck that crucially picked up by Psycho Skills. Blackjacks in on the attack. Hit at the blue line. Another hit along the half wall. Now in the corner. Still able to maintain possession. They lose it now to Mustakalta. Counterattack down the other way. Through the middle. Now out to the boards is Mise. Back net. No, the cut to the short side. Close call there for Alopekas. Blackjacks into the attacking zone. Kermit tries a short side shot that clips the post. Psycho Skills at the right point. Down for Kermit below the goal line. Lynn wasn't able to get the shot off. Aro, the right side of the ice again. A key attacking point. Goes to Kalta, but they were shut down on that attempt. Blackjacks in down that left side wall. Kermit tried to go down low. It goes all the way to Psycho Skills at the point. Goes to Kalta are able to regain possession. They'll slow things down. Another offside call here. Mustakalta tried to find Aro through that center lane.
Yeah, and it feels like Ardo, we've not really talked about him much in this game. 40 goals in the regular season, a hat trick in game one, but he's been held relatively in check, which was one of the keys we talked about coming into the night for the Blackjacks. So give them some credit, but a lot of other guys from Mustakalta, they've stepped up here over the last period and a half, and Blackjacks now looking for some answers to respond with as Mustakalta have really gotten the momentum to shift their way, but time's starting to run a little bit thin on them here now.
They are more than halfway through the third. Blackjacks, their lead from 3-0 down to 3-2. Oh, to your point, Majors, we have an offside call here. What, just 2 shots for the Blackjacks since the first period?
Yeah, and it's just tough to win like that. I mean, it's great that you get that hot start, but you got to keep it going to some extent. You have to continue generating offense and finding opportunities. This is a Mustakalta team that, you know, can score at will. We mentioned it. Top 10 all time in goals for per game. So you know that they have that offensive ability. You know, 3 goals can be enough, but you still have to continue to apply that same pressure, and they just haven't done that so far.
There's Aro into the slot. Big glove save by Costi as the defense got caught. Goaltender bails him out, and if, you know, the 2 goals against haven't been a wake-up call, that save needs to be.
And we talked about Costi. He has that big save ability, and we saw it right there. That could have been very well the tying goal, and boy, if you feel like if Mustakalta ties this game, the Blackjacks are in a world of trouble here.
Get them all up ahead for Launen, and Alopekas not able to hold on to it. Defense is there to help out. Mise shot, bouncing puck, they score! From 3-0 down, Mustakalta have tied this game up in the third period as Aro was in the right place at the right time.
Right on cue, Tugi. We just said Ardo was going to have to be someone that steps up, that we hadn't called his name often, and Mustakalta, they get that tying goal that we were just referencing, that if they can get the Blackjacks, they could be in some trouble, that Mustakalta could maybe have the momentum in their favor. It looks like the Blackjacks, they know that too. They're going to call a timeout here, but wow, just insane the way this game is really turned on its head. Just all of a sudden, Mustakalta back in it, and really with all the momentum now in their favor.
I mentioned right place, right time for Aro. He is one of those players that you just always have to keep an eye out on. I remember when he was first being scouted and then found his way up into the elite division. Yippee Voskala back, I think it was winter or spring of 22. And was identified as like, oh man, that was a big pickup. That Yippee Voskala lineup with how many other teams were interested in getting him. Blackjacks nullifying icing here. Aro continues to prove why he was so highly touted as a potential difference maker. Bounced around to quite a few teams at this point, but Mustakalta looks like a pretty good landing spot, although they are offside here.
You want to know something interesting, Tugi, with Ardo, where he started? Philadelphia Academy. Yes, the same Phila that won all of those championships. He started out on their academy team. Just kind of a crazy thing to see how a player like him kind of rose through the ranks as an academy player for a team that's been, I mean, one of the more illustrious teams in this division. Now he's become one of arguably the best forwards in all of Europe. It's just so fun to see stories like that, really fitting with this Mustakulta team that's a similar story. That's what the ECL is about, players and teams rising through the ranks and really cementing their spot as some of the best throughout the continent.
I know, 47 seconds of regulation here. Blackjacks have seen a 3-0 lead vanish. See if there is a late goal here or perhaps overtime. Overtime's been a theme throughout the postseason. So far, I feel like it always is. You know, you have those more kind of defensive tendencies in a situation like this.
We already saw one on Monday. Dr. Reed and Exon. It was a 0-0 game that went to double overtime.
I had a lot more fun yesterday in our pro division. Spotlight, of course. All right. Puck down low here. Mustakulta trying to make it 4 unanswered goals. That one thrown towards net. Took a big deflection. Launinen for Alopekas to the point. Mise towards goal into traffic. Launinen loses it. Kermit, one more chance here for the Blackjacks. 1 second shot into the mixer. Doesn't find its way through. And indeed, we are heading to overtime here in game number 2. Both teams in search of the 4th goal in this game.
Tugi, you kind of said it just wouldn't be a playoff series without at least one overtime, would it? I mean, no surprise at all to see that they gave us at least one of those, right? I mean, you're a little bit surprised that it came in this game. The Blackjacks looking so good to start, a 3-0 lead in the first period, and then after that, really just a bunch of nothing for them. Mustakulta pretty much shut them down defensively, and were able to kind of find their way to their own offense slowly but surely. A goal late in the second period to kind of close the gap, and then 2 goals here in this third period to tie things up and push it to this overtime period. I think really the question now is how can the Blackjacks even find any momentum? I mean, Mustakulta, they have it all in their control, and you just kind of feel like as long as they can limit one of those breakaways we've seen them allow here in this series, they should have a pretty good chance to be able to win this game with the way the momentum is turned and with the way that they have played compared to the way that the Blackjacks have played. So how these two teams look here in this overtime period, I'm very, very interested to see.
Overtime is underway. See who's able to find that breakthrough. Can the Blackjacks avoid actually a brutal situation? You have the chance here. Timothy on the rush, goes across. Kermit not able to get it cleanly. They still have the puck here. Back to Psycho Skills now again down low. Tony to Kermit, and that was a great pass. Just maybe not the cleanest pickup, maybe even caught Kermit off guard. The tremendous chance goes to the wayside.
And Latvex, he was not ready for that. If Kermit's able to shoot that puck, that is a goal and a win for the Blackjacks.
Dylan does what he has to do to stay on side, but Mustakulta back in control. As Aro with a bit of speed, tried to go back, bouncing puck, settled down. Breakout pass here for Timothy. Low shot, wanted the rebound for Villain. As it gives it to Tony now again in the corner. But down low, trying to go to work, loses it on the back of the net. But Mustakulta down the other way. Aro cutting back as Launinen down low. Find a pass low. It was picked off by Tony. Sends the Blackjacks the other way. Aro once again back into the attacking zone for Mustakulta. A lot of quick possession changes in the neutral zone. Pass down low again. That one banked off the back of the cage out to the right corner. Aro tries to spin down low. Mustakulta maintain possession, at least for the moment. Big hit. Scramble for the puck that the Blackjacks have. The breakout pass nearly caught Timothy. Crucial interception there from Noir Yamal. As Alopekas into the zone. Great individual effort. They score. Right place, right time. You might as well put it on the back of the jersey. As Oro strikes again and Mustakolta come back from a 3-0 deficit at the end of the first period to take game 2, 4-3 in overtime.
What an effort by Mustakolta to fight their way back into this game. You mentioned the 3-0 deficit. I mean, Tugi, it was 3-0 in favor of the Blackjacks with less than a minute left in the second period. That's how far Mustakolta was down in this one, with how much little time they had. And yet they were able to find their way back in this game. And, you know, Ardo going to get credit for the goal, but Alupeka's that great individual effort that you mentioned to get towards the net, put that original shot on them. Then Ardo, as you mentioned, right place, right time to bury it home. Costi just not able to get there in time to make that save. And games like that, those are the games that turn series around. That's a game that the Blackjacks should have probably won, but they did not keep that possession going. They did not keep the play that they had going in that first period, and Mustakolta capitalized, took the game over, and found their way to an overtime victory, which is really impressive considering that, remember, this is a team with a lot of rookies, a team that had a ton of transfers, more transfers than any other team in the division during the offseason. And this is their first elite playoff series for many of them. I mean, you look at last season, and the first time playoff teams did not fare necessarily well. They won a combined one game out of the two first time playoff teams last season, but Mustakolta have already doubled that on their own. So against a really experienced Blackjack team that took Vada Koitinen Esports last season to 7 games, who is now Parasite. To see Mustakolta come out with a 2-0 lead and to win both games the way they did, just beyond impressive. And Mustakolta, I mean, they just continue to surprise you. They just continue to surprise you and make things happen.
A gigantic result for them to take a 2-0 series lead through the first 2 games. Gonna look back, of course, at some of the highlights here, but in so many examples, right place, right time for Mustakolta. It was a rough adjustment through that first period. As the game went on, they were getting more of the play. The Blackjacks were struggling at times to get shots on goal, get shots into a more dangerous area. And Mustakolta were able to do a better job of it. Case in point right there on the winner.
And it's insane because, I mean, I was saying right before that run that the Blackjacks, if they could just continue to play the possession the way they were in the first period, that 3 goals would be enough, but they just didn't do that. They lost all ability, it felt like, to really hold on to the puck and really create any opportunities. I mean, they had 7 shots in the first period, Tugi, and then in the second, third, and overtime combined had 3. I mean, that is such a drastic shift in offensive production that I don't think I've seen in the Elite Division in a long time. So give Mustakolta a lot of credit for their ability to really hone in and adjust. And again, that is a game that can completely turn the way this series goes. You go from a 1-1 series potentially heading into tomorrow and next week to now having a 2-0 series lead if you're Mustakolta, and you stole one of those home game opportunities that the Blackjacks have, because that is a significant advantage for them. So that is a series shifting win, I think, for Mustakolta. Well deserved, and congratulations to them. And that's going to be a game that really haunts the Blackjacks and gives them some nightmares here over the next evening.
First 2 games of this series are in the books, but there is still one more quarterfinal matchup that needs to begin on the other side of the break. It is Voitimatone and Mythics, the first 2 games of that series. So stick with us, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Just something to keep an eye on here as we get this one started.
Going over the line. A pass that was off the mark, but on target. Line. Poke check by Tony. The Blackjacks down the other way. Kermit. And the between the legs move found its way to Tennessee. Scores. just what the
trickles its way in past that left pass. This is an even better look at it right here. It was actually the glove just didn't get all of it and then trickled in off of that pad. And
Tony denied. Cycle skills the shot. They score.
took them 5 minutes to score more goals in this game than they did in all of game 1. And how about that just subtle little
zone? Space here for Kermit. He is gone. Breakaway. Scores. On. Breakaway. Scores. And an instant pause. Bring them all. Those Alopecas into the attacking zone. Aro off the goaltender's pass.
guys in it. If you go down by 4, just have a hard time seeing them come back from that sort of deficit.
Shot there, denied. Kermit for Villain, over for Timothy. More attack here for Mustakolta. A few seconds up in the period, they score. The game. Well, Major, that's what Mustakolta needed. Heading into the 3rd period, they finally find a way through, and it's the defenders stepping up into the play to get it. Able to get that shot on as we will cover the conclusion of the series and the conclusion of this game.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
And we are back, everybody. Again, a big thank you for sticking with us here as we get ready to move on to our second matchup of this Wednesday spotlight here. It is the opening two games between our 4th seed and Voitimaton as they take on number 5 Mythics. And Major, this is an interesting one here because for Voitimaton, one of those teams heading into the season, they're always going to be viewed as a championship favorite. But they were surpassed by some teams I think that not everybody expected to see jump them, while Mythics made a very strong charge over the last 2 weeks of the season. I believe the final count was they moved up 5 spots up into 5th position over the last 2 weeks, at least off of points pace that I always look at for the wraparound because, of course, games played discrepancies and whatnot. But a very strong job by them to secure this spot, but what a reward it is to have to take on a team that's always going to be viewed as a title contender.
Yeah, I mean, for Mythics, you mentioned it. I mean, what a run they went on to even get to this point. You go back and you kind of look at things and you're sitting there thinking like, man, it's going to be tough for Mythics to find their way in. They're having the battle with Polsky Boys and with Exton and with Hymo and all these other teams for these last playoff spots. Tiki Talk was still in the running. And you just kind of felt like, gosh, with the way they've played, it's going to be tough for them to find their way in. But yet here they are. But again, you have Voitimaton, who every single season are continuously one of the favorites to win the title, and a team that has more playoff experience, arguably, than any team in the bracket. So a tough test for them, but that's what makes it an interesting series. One of the hottest teams coming into the playoffs against a very veteran team that has been in this situation so many times before.
Well, with that, let's take a look at the lineups for this one. Get to the team stats a little bit later on here, should we have time, but we'll go with a little bit more in-depth stuff here. As you get a look at the Mythics side of things, we have Bobby, Mickey's, and Koloslav as the front three. An interesting option on defense as the Wix is in alongside Vidux and Rico between the pipes. On the other side, Tempenin, Botslav, and Eki alongside Jamal the Man and Flyer Kungan with Hans Solino in goal. And we'll start off with that center comparison, Mickey's and Potslav, the 2 men down the middle for their respective teams. And, well, of course, Potslav, he's won essentially everything there is to win in this division. Point total not as crazy as you might suspect, but he also has the face-off advantage heading into this matchup, Major.
He does. And, you mentioned the points maybe not being what you'd expect typically of Potslav, but still a very balanced effort. Still one of the best two-way centers I think that you could ask for in this division. So he's going to be an impact. It's really been the wingers where a lot of the offense is generated. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But him and Mike is going to be a very, very interesting battle, especially considering that face-off discrepancy, 49.8% compared to 55.2%. It didn't really help the Blackjacks having that advantage in that last series. But again, with a Voitimaton team that loves to dominate the possession game and loves to kind of just him a team in its own zone, it's going to be something to look out for in this series.
And Potslav versus Mikes as the center matchup, the winger comparison. Again, we have Eki and Tempenin going up against the Mythics duo of Bobby and Koloslav. And you get a look at the numbers there. Major, of course, on the side of Voitimaton, the offense, a little bit more prolific, but certainly not numbers to scoff at. You look at Koloslav as well, 30 goals on the season.
Yeah, and Bobby and Koloslav, they've been a duo for a couple of seasons now, and both of them have so much chemistry together. The point tallies might not be eye-popping, but they can make plays happen together. And it's the same way for the other side for Voitimaton, Tempenin and Eki. We've seen so many times those two connect on that one-time play. Eki is always looking to find Tempenin. Again, just one of the best forwards in the league is Eki. Tempenin, one of the better goal scorers in the league. It's funny, Tempenin also has 11 game-winning goals so far this season. That was tied for most in the league with Vatu from Parasite. So those two are going to be really, really fun to watch here in the series.
We go over to that defensive comparison here next, and this is where I said it was going to be interesting, as we have, Yomal the Man and Flyer Kungan for the Votimatone side of things. But the defensive combination here for Mythics, again, just 12 games played for the left defender in this particular matchup. And honestly, someone I haven't yet been able to cover here, to the point where I'm like, username. Are we going with Tavix or the Vix, perhaps? And of course, Vedux on the other side. I'm very intrigued to see this matchup. It's not all that often heading into the playoffs that you see somebody with just 12 games played. It's not a goaltender, for example.
Yeah, and Tugi, the most interesting part about it is that, how about this? He was really one of the biggest difference makers during that run that Mythics had. In the 12 games that the Wix has played, Mythics is 11-1. That is how big of a difference he has made for this team. So not only is he played well in the games he's played, but Mythics has been a clearly better team with him out on the ice. So I'm really interested to see how he impacts the game, as, again, as you mentioned, he's not someone that either of us have gotten to really cover. And then you have Yomal the Man and Flyer Kungan on the other side. Yomal, a great transfer pickup, could easily be viewed as one of the transfers of the season throughout the Elite Division. And Flyer Kungan, just as steady as ever, whether it's forward, whether it's defense, always an impact when he's on the ice.
And of course, the goaltenders, our final head-to-head, it is Rico against Hanselinho. When you look at the numbers here, Rico actually with the advantage from a save percentage perspective. But of course, you never doubt a prolific goaltender such as Hanselinho, one of the best this division's ever seen, and he gets the nod here in these first two games.
Yeah, I mean, Hanselinho, if there were a SportsGamer Hall of Fame, he would probably be first ballot, right? I mean, one of the best save percentages for all-time goalies in the playoffs. He's played 232 playoff games, and he has an 82.13 save percentage. So that just kind of goes to show you how good he is this time of year. And you have a goalie in Rico who I think a lot of people don't really talk about in terms of some of the top goalies in the league, but has consistently been north of an 80 save percentage over the last couple of seasons. So these two are going to be very fun to watch. Two guys that can hold a team to 1 or 2 goals on any given night. Can't wait to see them go head to head here in this one.
Okay, well, with that, of course, we are just a few moments away from the action getting underway in Major, as we, as we always have, time to kind of talk about, the keys to success. Sometimes it's something that we are able to talk about a little bit more throughout the game, but I think we have a little bit of time here in the preview. For Mythics especially, these are the 3 keys that you listed out for them. Tell us more about them.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, remember the last 10 games. I mean, Mythics, as we mentioned, went on an absolute tear to get themselves into the playoffs in the first place. They looked down and out, went on a run of 9-1 in their last 10, and were able to find their way into the board. You got to remember the things that worked well for you and what you were able to adjust after this break. Secondly, all eyes on Eki and Temp, and that has been the dynamic duo for this Voitimatone team all season long. It's where many of their goals come from. They've combined for 54 goals, so it kind of shows you how good those two are together. You got to keep an eye on them. And then last but not least, don't be afraid to shoot the puck. There are a few teams that shoot the puck less than Mythics do. They finished in really the bottom part of the league in shots for per game, so it kind of shows you that they're not really a team that are as needy, I guess, to shoot the puck, if that's a good way to put it, but second lowest shots in the regular season, not going to cut it against a team like Voitimatone that love to dominate the possession.
Of course, for the Voitimatone side of things, talking about what we need to look for out of them in this series. Agent, again, feel free, take it away here.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I think just imposing your play style on the game. We know how Voitimatone loves to dominate with the cycle. They love to hold the possession. They love to just kind of soften the defense and wait for that one prime opportunity to strike. I think that Voitimatone, if they want to win this game or win the series, really, they're going to have to continue to do that and find their way. Number two, take advantage of that possession time. Just because you got possession time doesn't mean it's good possession time. You can hold on to the puck for as long as you want, but at the end of the day, you got to get shots. You have to create opportunities. So Voitimatone, in times we've seen them be a little bit hesitant, I think, to shoot the puck, maybe a little too hesitant. Need to remember that as great as it is to have that time in the possession and that attacking time, you got to be able to do something with it. And last but not least, continue to win faceoffs. We talked about that earlier. Potzloff, one of the best faceoff centers in the league coming into the season. Again, a team that loves to dominate possession. The more faceoffs you can win, the more that helps your cause.
And while we continue to wait for these two teams to get matched up, a look at the regular season team stats that we talked about a little bit earlier on as Mythics. I mean, Major, how about this? The 5 seed with a negative goal differential.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember the last time I've seen that. I've got to be honest. That is really, really rare to see that. They're one of 2 teams in the playoffs that had a negative goal differential, with the other one being Goons, who was the 8th seed. So very unique, nevertheless. But I do think if you want to talk about positives for Mythics, is that they do have very good special teams numbers. I mean, a really good power play percentage, a pretty solid PK. Void to Baton not too far behind them, but definitely a bit of an advantage towards the Mythic side. And even the goals against isn't overly far off. I mean, it's a 12 goal difference. It's really the goals for, I think that's the biggest discrepancy. So a Mythics team that, as we said, really got their game going later on in the season. You know, I think you kind of could take some of the positives from some of these stats, while for Void to Baton just kind of continuing to do what they did. They were 5-5 in their last 10, but again, we know what this team is. We know what they're capable of. They have more playoff experience than probably any team in the playoff bracket. So just going to be kind of interesting, I think, to see whether Mythics can carry over what they did in the regular season, and whether Void to Baton can really just continue to do what we've seen them do for so long in this division.
Of course, we are just a few moments away from the action getting underway here. Again, the first 2 games of this series, all of this leading to our special Thursday playoff broadcast. Again, that is tomorrow. Normally not a match day for us, but it will be here, as we will be covering the conclusion of these playoff series. So make sure to tune in tomorrow for more Elite Division postseason coverage. But for now, we are, again, just about ready to go. It is the battle of our 4 seed in Void to Baton against the number 5 in Mythics. You get a look there at the teams and their setups. And again, nothing too crazy. In the Pro Division, I saw some people rocking gold truculence. That was a fun one. But not too much of a difference on the other side here. Mythics very much setting up, though, with that double gold 1T on the wings. A lot of disruptions, though. You see Eki as well rocking Stick 'em Up, as well as the defenders. You kind of know what their strategy is going to be from a defensive standpoint. And that's been a key for multiple members, Major Void to Baton, over the years, is their ability on both sides of the puck.
Yeah, I mean, we talk so much about Void to Baton's offense, but just their ability to disrupt and break up plays is such a key to what they're able to do. And it's going to be interesting to see how Mythics handles that. It's going to be interesting to see how Void to Baton can really hone in on that. And that's something else I noticed. Mike is the center for Mythics, going with a dangler build. Not something you see, I feel like, too often. Something interesting there, though, with that puck carrying ability.
Here we go. This series is underway. Mythics in the road whites. Dare I say the off whites here. Void to Baton have home ice for this series. Good double hip check there to get the puck back, and we'll see what they're able to do. Their first possession, the answer is not much, as the puck eluded a defender and forces Rico to cover.
Yeah, and kind of just a quick little turn there to get Void to Baton an offensive zone draw. And we talked about the face-offs, that being an advantage for Void to Baton. They'll get a shot at it early.
It's off the face-off. PK is able to recover this puck. Up ahead, Bobby trying to find a bit of space. The pass in front picked off. The low pass flyer. Kungen's there to knock it away. And now Eki trying to hold on to it. Can't do so. Good pick off in front. Defense trying to lead Mythics down the other way. They get slowed up a little bit through the neutral zone. That's all the time that Void to Baton need. Likely to be a key for Mythics throughout this series. That defense to offense, their transition game, can they be fast and effective?
Yeah, and that's going to be a really, really big key. We see transition hockey be such a big part of a lot of these series and a lot of these games in the Elite Division. When you can take advantage of those transition opportunities, it can really, really be the difference between a win and a loss, especially in a close game.
In the attacking zone here for Mythics, Koloslav the spin, tries to shovel one towards goal. In. Back the net. Bobby still in control. Tries to find Koloslav again. Defense. Recover for Void to Matone. Zeki, golden helmet wearer for his team. Leading scorer in the regular season. Koloslav not able to win that one back. PK is able to get on side, but Flyer Kungum was able to take it away. From all over. Still in possession. One-timer from the point for Flyer Kungum. Now, opportunity here. The puck in front. Redux not able to do what he needed to do. Tempinen into space for Void to Matone. Good contact from Mikes. Down the other way. Mikes again in control here for Mythic's chance in front. For Bobby didn't register as a shot, but still looked good. And an offside call here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Only one shot between these two teams over the first about 12 and a half to 13 minutes here. So not really a whole lot of opportunity between these two sides so far. But hey, nevertheless, first playoff game, first period. Take some time to get things going every now and then.
A shot there. Glove saved by Hanselinho. He'll play it out. It's back in control here are Mythics. Each team just a shot apiece so far. Koloslav tried the spin. This one dropped back. Looking for a bit of space here. Finds Bobby on the left. He tries a short side shot. Hanselinho makes the save, this time forced to cover.
Yeah, how about Hanselinho? We talked about him and how elite he has been in playoff series in the past, the way he can really steal a series for you in Mythics, the first time they've really been able to test them, but two good shots right there to maybe try to turn some momentum their way.
Come back in control. 4 minutes left here in the period. And an offside call. Again, just 3 shots combined in the early stages of this game.
Yeah, very slow going so far. There's not a whole lot of space or opportunities, but you got to give the defense of both of these sides a lot of credit, just kind of stalemating things really for the opposition on both ends.
Locked down low in the attacking zone for Void to Matone. Good cycle, but can they find the space? Flyer Kungin stepping in. Eki the wraparound. He scores. And that is exactly what this lineup needed. Eki off to a strong start here in the opening round. Void to Matone grabbed the first goal of game 1.
And that's the thing with Eki. He's so dangerous from behind the net. We've seen so many times over the years him capitalize in that area, whether it's a wraparound like that right there, or whether he finds a way to create a play for someone in front or even on the opposite side post. He's just always able to do something with that time and with that space. He does it there. And Void to Matone, strike first in what has been a game with little opportunity. Eki is able to capitalize on his.
The opening goal for Void to Matone and Eki, who had 27 goals in the regular season. He and Tempinen both, for that matter. Another offside call here. 2:01 remaining in the opening frame. Void to Matone find their breakthrough. Otzloff trying to find a little bit of space here. Defense collapses. He's able to kick it up the boards. Now sent back around. Vedux is there. And poke checked away. Good back check from Void to Matone. Potzloff trying to hold on to it. Can't do so. Now Koloslav, a little bit of space. Final moments of the period. All the man takes it away and kills the time. Void to Matone, the breakthrough late in the period as Eki gets the goal, but we'll get a look here at some of the physicality for Mythics.
Yeah, and you know, it's been interesting because of how this game has gone. Not a lot of shots, not a lot of offense, not a whole lot of opportunity, but we've seen a little bit of physicality. We've seen a lot of defense, I think, on both sides. a couple of saves from the two goalies of Rico and Hanselino, but the play of the period, obviously, that wraparound goal by Eki to give Voigt Baton that 1-0 lead. And I mean, you look at the stats, Tuki, everything pretty even. Just 1 second of time on attack separating these two, both teams with 2 shots on net. It's just the Voigt Baton, one of their 2 shots, was able to find the back of the net with that wraparound. As you get a closer look at the replay there, and Rico just not able to get there in time, maybe even hit a part of his skate there, but just not able to make that save. And, nevertheless, though, pretty even game. Can't really say too much about it other than that. Very even.
We get ready for the second period of action, as always. Broadcast brought to you by our friends at Kovalan Lakritsi as Game 1 continues on. Good to see who will take the advantage again into our final game of this broadcast. It'll be Game 2. So we will finish up our opening round of the postseason tomorrow. Just what games we end up covering kind of depends on the circumstances, as every single matchup so far does have a 2-0. See if this fourth and final quarterfinal matchup follows that trend. Again, the truculence on display. Okay, tie up on the draw. Mythics back in control. A little bit of space there quickly. He's nearly able to find his way through. As Tempinen. Control, not able to find that breakthrough pass. Good job. I'm all the man, and again, that's what I find interesting is some of these guys that look so good at forward in the past. Flyer Kungen, very prolific forward. Even Yamal the man, I mean, debuted at this level as a forward, drops back to defense for this team. And has done so well. Close chance there. Or Tempinen, foot race for the puck that Voitamaton will win.
That's a good point, too, Tugi. I think it just kind of goes to show that IQ, skill, awareness, that's all stuff that carries no matter the position. I mean, we've seen forwards drop back to defense. I mean, Eki did the exact same thing a few seasons ago, went from forward to defense and looked like one of the best defenders in the league. So, it's not always just a position-based thing. Obviously, these players at this level, that skill, that IQ, the smart for the game, it translates no matter what. So as long as you're able to fit in within the style and kind of adjust the way that you played to that position you're playing, these guys all have that ability, and it's just so fun to see them kind of rotate around these different spots based on what the rotation is.
Well, speaking of rotation, we have a goal. Mythics able to tie this game on the wraparound. It's going to count as an own goal at the end of it. At least the final touch would have been by a defender, unless I don't think they forgot to set the replay skipping to not being an option. But Bobby on the wraparound. Out of nowhere, Mythics have tied this game. They might not be done. Shot there, deflects wide. Bobby again back down low. And Major, I mean, that quickly, blink of an eye. Mythics able to tie this game at 1, but Voitamaton going to quickly look for that counter. And they get it, Flyer Kungen. I mean, why not hit the gritty when you pass it into the back of the net? Voitamaton re-grabbed the lead.
Well, that was awful quick, wasn't it? I mean, we were just talking about how Bobby tied things up with that wraparound, nearly an identical goal that Eki got earlier to start the scoring, and then not even 5 minutes later, here comes Flower Coogan, who we were just raving about how seamlessly he has transitioned to that defensive spot, kind of gets back into his forward element a little bit, pushes up, and just kind of passes that one right through, and it goes through Rico. I mean, really nothing more than just a pass right through his pad. I don't think that was even intentional, but hey, it works out for Voitamaton. They get that goal back, and just like that, they're up by 1 once again. So
a very interesting turn of events in these two games. Or, to begin these two games, I should say, is we kick off the second period, a goal apiece. Both in interesting fashion. We march on, and it's all business as usual. Voitimatone up now 2-1. Puck in the corner here. Never even got to mention the idea of course, Potzloff playing defense as well. As Eki had Flyer Kunga in, bouncing puck kicked out near the goal line by Rico. Eki for Potzloff. Flyer Kungan at the point, D-to-D, and all lets it fly, and a good save from Rico again. That one towards goal. And forcing the cover.
And it feels like all of a sudden, ever since Mythics got that goal, Voitimatone have really kind of turned this game on its head. They kind of just took all the momentum. They have all the shots on net now, and here they are with another chance with an offensive zone faceoff as well.
As Mythics in control here. Trying to get something going. Bobby finds his way through. Net drive. Never held on to it cleanly. But a good effort there.
Yeah, that was a good effort. Just trying to find something there. But like you mentioned, just never totally got a grip of that one clean. Still gives them an offensive zone face-off, though, but just not able to take advantage of it. We talked about Potzloff and his face-off ability. Showed up again there for Voitimatone on that one.
The broken stick causing havoc in the Voitimatone zone. Flyer Kunga was able to get to the bench and get a new stick. They circle back to their proper positions, but again, mistimed at the line. At least 4, maybe even 5 offside calls already, it feels like, for Voitimatone. They have had their struggles.
Talked about it. Mythics defensively. Yeah, we talked about it with Mythics defensively. They weren't a great offensive team this season, but the defense and goaltending was always relatively competitive. So you're kind of seeing that right now. It's giving Voitimatone some issues with their entry.
As Eki over the line, has space, set up the shot. Good stop. Final moments of the period. 5 seconds, Jamal for Eki. Eki shovels one towards goal. That one doesn't go. The Mythics are out of time, so a 2-1 lead for Voitimatone heading into this third period after a set of, let's go with, interesting goals.
That's a fair way to tab that. It's interesting, and it's been an interesting game, I think, so far, and it's a good way to describe it as well. We've seen a lot of back and forth to some extent, nothing really too groundbreaking, but we've seen Voitimatone get some opportunities. It feels like Mythics would have more shots than 2. Like, it feels like they've had a couple of chances within their offensive zone, but just none that have really been overly dangerous outside of that wraparound goal from Bobby. And even that was not registered as an official shot on net, as it looks like maybe that poke check there from the defender in front, Flyer Kungan, maybe was what pushed that in. But if it was him, he certainly made up for it there with that pass through the goalie that went in. So we've had some really, really odd goals in this game. It's been an interesting game and not the most characteristic of games for what we would have expected, but it's been fun nevertheless. So interesting third period coming up here, I'm sure, as well.
Third period underway. Game number 1, our final quarterfinal to begin here in the Elite Division. As a shot on gives a lot of trouble for Rico, and they score. A fortunate bounce for Voitimatone. Right place, right time. It's Eki, and the lead is up to 2.
And that is a massive goal there for Voitimatone. They needed that in the game where, like I said, things have just been very odd and random, quite honestly. You never know when maybe Mythics will go down the other end and get that bounce in their favor, and it's a bounce there that gives this Voitimatone team that quick goal, but they're not going to complain. They're going to take it again. Right place, right time. Eki right where he needed to be to get that one through. A fortuitous bounce gives Voitimatone a massive 2-goal advantage here in the third period.
So 3-1 the score. Eki, his second goal of this game. Mythics need a bit of a response. Just 2 shots on goal at this point in the game. As Eki tries to find his way through. Tempinin wanted to go back to him. Dux was there to take it away. Flyer Kungan up ahead for Eki again. Has Potzelov with him. Finds the centerman. Down low for Eki to Flyer Kungan. Potzelov again, this time stripped of the puck. Dux down the other way. Amount of speed has Koloslav. Cycle down low, try to go in front. Puck bouncing around, and Hanselinho. A little bit of trouble, but he does cover.
Yeah, and he hasn't really been overly tested in this game. I mean, you see one shot, or excuse me, 2 shots, 1 goal. So really, one of the few times we've seen him have to cover, but a nice job from him just being where he needed to be to get that puck and not allow anything tricky to go past him.
Puck down low here, Voitimatone. Back to the point. No, out of the reach of Flyer Kungan, which we've seen that a few times in this broadcast. But again, it's beneficial in that instance as it just kills more time off the clock as Mythic's offside here.
And that's exactly what Voitimatone wants to see. Kill that time. Don't give Mythics an opportunity to creep their way back into this game. We've already seen one big comeback happen today with Bustakulta earlier, coming back from a 3-0 deficit in about 21 minutes. So if you're Voitimatone, you don't want to take any chances. The more clock you can kill, the better.
Great individual effort from Tempinin, but not able to find his way through. All back in control. It's the puck again here up to Potzelov, forced to circle around. I mean, it's a good job here by Mythics. For the moment, shutting down their blue line. A little bit of space here this time. Tempinin the short side. Good stop. 10 minutes left. Mythics going to be heading to the power play unless they score here. Mythics tries to find a little bit of space. Gets it back at the point. One-timer for Koloslav. Blocked down. Next back to the point. Koloslav's still there. Flick's not able to get that shot through. But this is the opportunity for Mythics. It's a power play coming up for the major. This is a big point in this game.
Yeah, if there's any time that Mythics having the second best power play in the division in the regular season should show up, it's going to have to be now. This is a big opportunity. You're down by 2. The first time that either side has had anything on special teams. And you have an opportunity to maybe cut this lead down with still a reasonable amount of time to go at 8:36. But if you don't get this, you're looking at around 6.5 minutes to try to get 2 goals in even strength when you only gotten 2 shots the entire game.
Space here for Bobby, the lone goal scorer for Mythics. An opportunity there, blocked down by the traffic. Here's Potzelov, and wisely elects to just send it down. And to get over the line, they do, not with possession. They recover here. Just not able to hold on to this one. He's able to keep it alive. Bobby again to the forehand. Tried to find Koloslav at the point. Intercepted by Tempinin. They'll cut back and send it down, forcing a save out of the goaltender after a deflection, but pretty much do it for the man advantage. We are back to 5-on-5.
And not a single shot on that power play from Mythics. That is a massively missed opportunity.
Down low, chance they score. Eki kicking off this postseason with a hat trick. Voitimatone, the kill, and then the goal, potentially putting this game to bed.
And that's why we said that was such a big opportunity for Mythics to have that power play. If you take advantage, this game is completely flipped on its head. It's a 1-goal game. You still got some time, but instead, on a single shot on the power play, and then Voitimatone, when they get Eki out of the box, they go right back to work, and he's the one that buries that goal to get his 3rd goal of the game, and the 4th goal for Voitimatone to extend their lead to 3. Just 5:15 to go. Tugi, you got to feel good about Voitimatone's chances of taking this game 1.
Mythics had the opportunity on that power play to try to flip the script here, but no shots. Still held to just 2. That is simply not a winning formula here. Hasn't been, in fairness, it hasn't been for a lack of trying. I mean, you know, Voitimatone very good at blocking shots.
And we talked about their ability to disrupt. That's been at full display here so far. I mean, it's not that Mythics haven't had zone time either. It's not that they haven't tried. We've even seen, shots on net that haven't really counted as registered shots. It's just they've not gotten clear-cut opportunities. That's really been the big issue.
The final 3 minutes of the period. Void to Matone look to be on their way to a 1-0 series lead. They will have a chance to be the 4th team out of a possible 4 to carry a 2-0 lead into the action tomorrow.
Kind of surprising to see that, honestly. I mean, we figured that a lot of these series would be relatively close. Obviously, still a lot of time in each of these series. A 2-0 lead can only take you so far. It's not like it's a best of 3. It's not like it's a best of 5. It's a best of 7. But at the end of the day, getting those 2 games can be really, really critical to your chances. So Void to Matone trying to join their other high seeds and fighting their way to that 2-0 lead. So we'll see if they can do so in that next game. But I think the biggest question, Tugi, can Mythics find some offense here? Still just 2 shots on net with 1 minute and 19 seconds to go in the 3rd period. You're not going to win many games that way. As great as Void to Matone is defensively, they're going to have to find a way to generate something on the offensive end.
Flyer Kungan in control. Void to Matone looking to close out this game. And this will be the series that we spotlight tomorrow. We have the extended first round this year. In terms of our full coverage, as we aim to bring you every single game, as opposed to some prior seasons where Thursday was the big day. We'll see what we jump around to cover.
And I like that. Every single series gets its shine, and you get to see the conclusion of all these series and how that story unfolds. So not just fun for the viewer, but fun for us to cover as well. It's always nice to just kind of get that full visual picture of how the playoff bracket unfolds. And so far, it has not disappointed us through just a few games in each of our 4 series.
22 seconds left in the period. Mythics made it close at one point, but as the game has gone on, Void to Matone has controlled it. And they will get the victory here. And they might not be done. Hempinen not able to secure that pass. Game number 1. 4-1 victory for Void to Matone.
And a well-deserved victory at that. I mean, Void to Matone, they really did all of the things that we said they needed to do. They wanted to win games this series. They controlled the play style. They were able to limit Mythics. They weren't afraid to shoot the puck when they had those opportunities. And I mean, really, they held Mythics relatively silent throughout this game. They ended up with 4 shots, Mythics did, but 2 of them were in the last minute of the game. So just not a whole lot that Mythics had going, and a lot of that had to do with what Void to Matone was doing defensively, their ability to disrupt plays, their ability to block shots. I mean, Anselino didn't really have to do too much really in this game. So a good sign for Void to Matone against a team at Mythics that, as we mentioned, was probably the hottest team in the league, arguably, other than maybe Parasite, who, I mean, quite frankly, they've been scorching hot all season long. So almost unfair to compare them to that. But nevertheless, Void to Matone did everything they needed to do. They executed, got that game 1 victory, and now it'll be interesting to see if they can do it one more time here today to maybe get that 2-0 lead that they're looking for in this series.
Again, game 2 coming up in just a matter of minutes, but a 4-1 win for Void to Matone in this first game. And look there at the numbers. I mean, on their side. That said, I mean, it's tough, right? You win 4-1. You don't want to say, hey, there's some things to work on, but ultimately I think there are, right? Like, they had some trouble in regards to onside calls, and one of their goals, Flyer Kogan passing it directly into the net. One of those things to work on, but I think that's also a promising sign, right? I mean, you probably didn't play your best game overall, yet you still walked away with a 4-1 win.
Yeah, I mean, really, let's see, 2 of their 4 goals were just kind of on really just fortuitous bounces, I guess you could say. I mean, it's not necessarily that it was Voight-Batone's best game ever either. They just were able to do enough to kind of hone in and get that victory, especially on the defensive end. I thought they were really impressive defensively, and I think that was really what carried them forward. But in terms of the offensive production, you mentioned it, some of the offsides, some of the struggles to kind of get things going, to create those plays. I mean, I don't think we called Templeton's name one time throughout that entire game, and he had 27 goals in the regular season. It was really a lot of Eki and a lot of Flyer Coogan. We didn't mention Potzloff much at all in that game either. So I think there's still a little bit that Voight-Batone's going to want to try to fix up here for this game too offensively, as you mentioned. But when you're able to play defense like that and only allow 4 shots on net, you can afford a little bit of a struggle offensively. So Voight-Batone, well-deserved victory. Going to be interesting to see how these two teams adjust here going into game 2.
And with that, that is just our first game of the series in the books. We'll be back in a few moments. Game number 2 coming up. Stick with us.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
The face-off. PK is able to recover this puck. Up ahead, Bobby trying to find a bit of space. The pass in front, picked off.
But hey, nevertheless, first playoff game, first period. Take some time to get things going every now and then.
Drop back. For a bit of space here. Finds Bobby on the left. He tries a short side shot. Hans Matone, good cycle, but can they find the space? Flyer Kungen stepping in. Eki, the wraparound. He scores. Matone grabbed the first goal of game 1.
And that's the thing with Eki. He's so dangerous from behind the net. We've seen so many times over the years him capitalize.
Tie up on the draw. Mythics back in control. A little bit of space there quickly. Dude, at this level as a forward, drops back to defense for this team. And has done so.
Have that ability, and it's just so fun to see them kind of rotate around these different spots based on what the rotation is.
Speaking of rotation, we have able to tie this game at 1, but wait to Matone going to quickly look for that counter. And they get it. Flyer Kungen
back into his forward element a little bit, pushes up and just kind of passes that one right through, and it goes through Rico.
Hold on to it cleanly. What a good effort there. As Eki over the line, has space, set up the shot. Good stop. Final moments of the period. Number 1, our final quarterfinal to begin here in the Elite Division. A shot on, gives a lot of trouble for Rico, and they score.
Never know when maybe Mythics will go down the other end and get that bounce in their favor, and it's a bounce there that gives this Voight-Batone team that quick goal. But
speed has Koloslav cycle down low, try to go in front, puck bouncing around, and Hanselino
here coming back from a 3-0 deficit in about 21 minutes. So if you're Voight-Batone, you don't want to take any chances. The more clock you can kill, the better.
Great individual effort from Temp around. I mean, it's a good job here by Mythics. For the moment, shutting down their blue line. A little bit of space here this time. Tempen in the short side. And low chance they score. And not able to secure that pass. Game number 1. 4-1 victory for Voight-Batone. face off. Okay, is able to recover this puck. Up ahead, Obi trying to find a bit of space. The pass in front picked off.
But hey, nevertheless, first playoff game, first period, take some time to get things going every now and then.
Okay. Drop back. A bit of space here. Finds Bobby on the left. He tries the short side shot. Hans Timotone, good cycle, but can they find the space? Flyer Kungan stepping in. Eki the wraparound. He scores. Matone grabbed the first goal of game one.
And that's the thing with Eki. He's so dangerous from behind the net. We've seen so many times over the years him capitalize.
Okay, tie up on the draw. Mythics back in control. A little bit of space there quickly. Dude, at this level as a forward, drops back to defense for this team. And has done so.
Have that ability, and it's just so fun to see them kind of rotate around these different spots based on what the rotation is.
Speaking of rotation, we have able to tie this game at 1, but Matone going to quickly look for that counter, and they get it. Flyer Kungan
back into his forward element a little bit, pushes up and just kind of passes that one right through, and it goes through Rico. And
hold on to it cleanly. A good effort there. As Eki over the line, has space, set up the shot. Good stop. Final moments of the period. Number 1, our final quarterfinal to begin here in the Elite Division. As a shot on, gives a lot of trouble for Rico, and they score.
Never know when maybe Mythics will go down the other end and get that bounce in their favor, and it's a bounce there that gives this Voitmatone team that quick goal. But
speed has Koloslav cycle down low, try to go in front, puck bouncing around, and Hanselino.
You're coming back from a 3-0 deficit in about 21 minutes, so if you're Voitmatone, you don't want to take any chances. The more clock you can kill, the better.
Great individual effort from Temp. I mean, it's a good job here by Mythics. For the moment, shutting down their blue line. A little bit of space here this time. Tempin in the short side. Down low chance, they score. And not able to secure that pass. Game number 1. 4-1 victory for Voitmatone. Well, it's a Christmas miracle, everybody. Just a few weeks after the fact, we are ready to go. The action is continuing. The long-awaited Game 2 is underway. As, well, Mage, I'm going to sit here and try to take another bite of this delicious yogurt I was enjoying during the break. So, hey, what are your thoughts as we head into Game 2?
Yeah, I don't blame you. You had enough time to grab a snack. You could have maybe even prepped a whole lunch with how long that one took. But I think the big question is, how can Mythics really find their way to generating some offense here? Only 4 shots in that first game. 2 of them came within the last minute. So just not a whole lot of offensive production. So how can they find it? And can Voitmatone be a little bit cleaner on the offensive end as well? They were great defensively, but we saw a lot of, I think, discohesion, I guess would be the word, in that first game from them with the puck. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams adjust, because they've had a lot of time to talk about it. So it's going to be interesting to see where they can go.
Finishing up this bite, I apologize.
What flavor? That's the real question here.
Oh, well, I mean, the only free, branding we can give out to anybody is, of course, Dove and Spider-Man web shooters for Christmas.
Yes.
That's the only advertising we can give out. But anyway, I digress. Enough about snacks and more about, oh goodness, this opening round playoff matchup, which again, as you mentioned, it ended up being a fairly convincing win for Voitmatone. This is the series that we'll see, at least I hope we'll see the conclusion to tomorrow. That's supposed to be the plan, but I'm ultimately tell with the connectivity issues that we have had here so far. But see who's able to find that breakthrough. As well, I'm playing a bit of an awkward moment there, but we will handle it well. I think we are good to continue on, at least I believe. See again what Mythics are able to do. Turn the road, White. Good chance there for Mythics. Their first shot of the game. On Ancelino up to the task. Here's Eki. Had a hat trick in game one. With one shot officially on goal. Here for Mythics again, being held at the outside. Nix gets it to Bobby. He scores. And Mythics strike first. Here in game number 2.
We've seen some really unconventional ways of scoring so far throughout this series, and we see another one here. It was a good cycle, really, to start the possession out for Mythics, but then just a bit of an odd angle shot that leads to a tip more towards the side than towards the middle, and it just beats Ancelino. Really nothing he could have done about that. It didn't even really take a big angle. It just kind of tipped and threw off the trajectory of that puck, I guess. So an interesting goal nevertheless, but a nice set play from Mythics to start out with that cycle. They capitalize, and a much better offensive start. Already 3 shots through just 12 minutes. That's one less shot than they had all of game 1. So you're seeing some of the adjustments that Mythics has made from game 1 compared to this game 2.
And a penalty called here. It goes from bad to worse for Voitimatone as Potzloff will be heading to the box here on a tripping call.
And that's big because not only are you losing your center, but you're losing one of the best defensive forwards in the ECL. So that is a massive, massive guy to have to go without for the next 2 minutes here for Voitimatone. And this is a big chance for Mythics. They had 1 power play in game 1, weren't able to take advantage, but the second best power play in the league in the regular season, and they capitalize and maybe double up their lead. It'd be massive for them if they could.
Mythics in control here, trying to get reestablished in the offensive zone. Good poke check by Eki. Mythics having a lot of trouble getting back into the zone. The power play nearly half over. Here we regroup. Let's get going with speed. Here's Koldislav, poked away in front. Got to go back to the point, and a missed pass. There's been a disastrous minute and a half. As space here, they had the chance. Bobby the shot, good save by Ancelino. They had nothing going the entire power play, but they do still get a quality chance there.
Yeah, it's a good look. Just a better save there from Ancelino, staying tight to that glove side and being able to read that play.
Face-off win. Final moments. Another save there on a shot by Koldislav. Full pressure as the man advantage expires. Good poke check on the man. As Tempinen, obviously going to have tired legs, gets the puck in. So, Mage, how about that? Mythics already 5 shots on goal.
Yeah, I was going to say that when I got the chance next. Already more shots in this period alone than they had all game. Really impressive to see how Mythics has kind of turned the tides. And Voitimatones, they're not even able to establish the offensive zone right now. So not even the offensive Mythics, but the defense has looked much, much improved.
Flyercoon getting control. 2.5 left in the first. Koldislav nowhere to go. Tempinen, intentionally or not, sends it all the way back down to his own zone. Try to rush him with speed here. They time it well. And for Flyercoon getting back again. Throws one on, deflected off of a man in front. Loose puck fought on for, recovered. Voitimatone, turnaround shot there. Trouble on the cover. Rico ultimately does.
And that's what Voitimatone needed. Just 7.8 seconds left to go in the period, so not going to be a ton of time really to get an opportunity, but enough for maybe 1 or 2 shots. It hadn't had much, though, before that little stretch. Only 1 shot before those 2 that they just got. So massive opportunity for them maybe to get a little bit of positive momentum here to end the period with, even if it doesn't end in a goal.
Final 5 seconds. Mythics turn it over, thrown in front. Enrico, a crucial pounce. 0.7 seconds left. That will all but do it for this first period, and a strong start for Mythics, getting that opening goal.
Yeah, that could have been scary, really, for Mythics if Rico isn't able to jump on that puck and hold on to it, because there was a little bit of space there for Void Baton to maybe get another shot on. And we've seen they've been so good at being able to just be at the right place at the right time. But nevertheless, Mythics with a really impressive period there. They look like a much improved team from what we saw in that first game. Not sure what they talked about during the break, but they definitely talked about it, and they've definitely adjusted it. And that's what you have to do in these playoff series, especially against a team like Void Baton that you know is so talented and has a lot of experience in these playoff series. So you have to be able to adjust when you see things that aren't working. You have to be able to talk those things through and then execute on them. So far, so good for Mythics. They've got shots, they've gotten opportunities, they have slowed down Void Baton offensively. Really the perfect period for Mythics. Words can be hard sometimes. And a 1-0 lead to reward them for it.
Yeah, it's tough, when they when you get up to 6 letters or more for an individual word, or when you had, or we that's it's the U.S. education system kicking in for 2 of us there. That's it. That's what happens too when your brain gets a little bit. You got the wires crossed after as much of a delay as we had. And of course, that's something that we thought would be a factor, is the delay, and you have to wonder how much has it affected Void Baton. The commentator's curse is unbelievable this year, isn't it? We have a tie game, a minute, 55 seconds even into the second period.
Yeah, that couldn't have been timed more perfectly. Is actually Tepidin as well to get that goal, his first of the series after being pretty quiet in game 1 and being held pretty much in check throughout that first period. He gets that quick pass in the slot, shot on net with a lot of space, and Rico just not able to save it. So, you talked about that, commentators, Jinx. We've seen it a few times, and it just came back to bite Mythics there, unfortunately for them. But a big goal for Void Baton. We said that the momentum at the end, maybe that they gathered, could maybe help them. So far, so good. Tied at 1 apiece.
You get a chance to mention them. It's always our lovely sponsor, Provolone. Again, it is now a 1-1 hockey game here in game number 2. Void Baton taking game 1. Mythics, the 5 seed here, trying to pull off an upset. They strike first in this game, could not find the follow-up. Puck chipped into the Void Baton zone. They'll settle it down. Over to the neutral zone, but a great read there by Bobby to step up with the hit. He has it here yet again. Trying to find Vix, couldn't do it. Set it down. All here trying to find a bit of space. Spotsloff back to him. One more time, but poked away back to the neutral zone. Tip check, can't win the puck back. Good interception from Bobby, though, and he elects to take it back, and they'll slow it down.
And that's smart. You don't want to get yourself in a situation where you're trying to force your way up the ice. Take your time, be patient, even though it resulted in that offsides right there. That's a smart play there for Mythics. If you want to try to slow down the possession game of Void Baton, you can't run into a wall and turn it over. So little plays like that, those are the ones that can make the difference. It might have not done so right there, but just something to keep an eye on.
Void Baton able to gain the line this time. He looks to take that one away. Back of the line, Koloslav looking at a feed in front. Nikis was able to get a piece of that one, but not able to beat the goaltender.
Yeah, and again, Hanselino just always so stout, always in position to be able to make saves like that one, but Mythic still doing a pretty good job of creating some opportunities. Up to 6 shots so far. They've still held Void Baton to less than what they've had, so despite things slowing down a little bit for them, still so far so good, I'd say.
And back to the point. Void Baton looking. Shot deflects, rebound, and a good stop there by Rico.
And we've talked so much about Hanselino, but Rico, also a guy that really has stepped up in between the pipes for this team, especially within this season. I mean, we saw the save percentage earlier. I believe it was 83% in his save percentage showed up right there.
And Voitimatone try to make it back into the attacking zone. Big step up hit there. Space now. Voitimatone. Potzloff tries to go over. Tempin in the shot attempt. One of the better looks of the game. Another hit there. Takes down Flyer Kungen. Loses his stick as well, as a shot rings off the post. Chances on both sides of the ice. Game opening up a little bit here. This one goes all the way down. Kungen will recover it. Feed in front, broken up by the traffic. Trying to step in, can't find any space. 2:20 to go in the period. Pass there, just offside.
Feels like this game has really slowed down over the last 10 minutes or so after that Voitimatone goal. Really, neither side really to generate a whole lot or establish much. Just kind of a tough, steady, neutral zone battle between these two teams. A little bit different than what we've seen, it feels like, in this series.
We hit the final minute here. Good move for Mekki to gain the line. Tempin tried to take that quick shot, healed it. Off back for Eki again down low. Tempin tried the odd angle. Final 5 seconds. Mythics not able to get it out. Potzloff in front. Defense is there. We have ourselves a tied hockey game heading into the third period. Still 1 goal apiece.
Yeah, and again, Voitimatone, that 1 goal to tie this thing up is the difference right now. After Mythics was able to strike early, Voitimatone able to find their way to 1, and it was an early goal in this period. That momentum that they had late in the first carried over into the second period, and they were able to find their way to a goal. But ever since then, it's been pretty much stalemated for both these two teams. Voitimatone not able to find a whole lot, Mythics not able to find a whole lot, and it's really been a battle of the neutral zone, and both teams is kind of trying to just find their way to establish something or get some opportunities, as we'll get another look at that goal from Tempin that did tie things up. But nevertheless, not a whole lot separating these two, and this third period going to go a long way, I think, towards seeing which way this series is going to go heading into tomorrow. Is it going to be Mythics with a 1-1 possibility, or is Voitimatone making our 4-2-0 series of this playoff bracket in the Elite Division?
Well, we will find out here. Third period about ready to begin. We'll see who can find that breakthrough. Foot race for the puck here. Hanselino banks it off the big plate there and off the back of the cage as well. And we have yet another offside call.
And that's been a common theme. Once again, that's a part of that neutral zone defense we've talked about that's really shown out so far in this game too. Just neither team really able to enter the zone cleanly, just the defense all over it, and also a little bit of miscommunication on both sides offensively as well.
The puck down low here, good patience. Pass nearly picked off, and again another pass back to the point. A little bit off the mark. Line Flyer Kungen for Eki, tried to get that shot on. Too much traffic. Olaslav up ahead. Nearly got it back. Contact there. Bobby has it down low below the goal line. Wanted the wraparound again. Did score that way in game 1. Can't find the back of the net that time. Mythics not able to find that clean pass as they look to get over the line. Line here one more time. Jamal trying to find Potzloff. Defense is there. Both these teams continuing. Cancel one another out in a lot of ways. That feed across. Defense is there. A one-timer. Good look. Chances have been few and far between. Let's pick off there. Going back in control. I say it looks like they're going to slow it down, and they do. Ultimately, it only leads to an offside.
Yeah, now we're at a point here, Tugi, halfway through this third period, still tied at 1. Both teams kind of still trying to find just anything really offensively. We're entering the territory now to where the next goal could very well end up being the game winner. So time starting to become a premium topic of discussion here in this game.
Shot. That one stopped and covered. Time 8:41 remaining now. Very low on time indeed.
Maybe has that desperation start to seek in a little bit. Do either of these teams get a little more aggressive, knowing that time is starting to thin?
As for Bobby, not able to find a pass through. Going again, trying to find space here. They are on side. Potzloff looks to go across. Both teams looking for those types of plays, neither able to finish them. A shot for Bobby there after the good protection. Anselino makes the save. Jack Eki able to keep that puck alive and draws the penalty as well. A crucial time in this game.
Yeah, it is crucial, as you mentioned. It's going to be Bobby going to the box for that tripping call right there. Just got a piece of that stick. And now this is going to be an opportunity for Voitibaton, who we have not seen yet on the power play in this series. A team that was just under 29% on the power play as well, right around the middle of the league, just outside the top 5.
Yeah, this one quickly dumped out for Mythics. Way to start off the kill. They're going back over for Eki. Eki again. Look at the one-timer, they score. Power play goal late in this one. Tempinen has the breakthrough. It's 2-1 for Voitimaton.
And that's the connection we talked about during the pregame, Tugi. Eki to Tempinen, Tempinen to Eki. Those two have been the magic duo for this team all season long. 27 goals apiece, 54 combined between those two players, which, I mean, hey, if you want a reference point, the amount of goals that Voitibaton scored as a team, 87. So you're talking about a little over 60% of the goals that Voitibaton scored came from those two. They connect once again, and now Voitibaton in a situation where they have a lead late, and Mythic's going to have to get desperate fast.
3:30 to go. Mythics in need of a goal, struck first in this game, and just not able to find insurance markers that they needed. They have space here, though. Bobby looking, they score! We'll talk about space, Major. They finally found it. And have tied this game up just a few moments after surrendering what looked like the game-winning goal.
And how about that beautiful, beautiful pass to set that play up. I mean, just absolutely spectacular. Bobby and Mike is able to connect on that play, and all of a sudden, when it felt like Mythics really didn't have much going for them, Voigtbaton with that 2-1 lead, they scored it late. Mythics able to go on the other end and find a goal of their own, 2-2 game, and now things get even more interesting.
Now 90 seconds left in this game. Will there be one more goal to decide this? Again, we continue this series tomorrow on broadcast. Saved there by Hanselinho. All the man over the line here. Eki looking, good save. Second chance off the post. Tempinen again. Another save.
And you know that's who they're going to be looking for. Voigtbaton, that is Tempinen. We mentioned this stat a little bit earlier, but Tempinen, someone that has stepped up so many times for this team, 11 game-winning goals. That was second in the division, only behind Vatu. So he's going to be someone to look out for. That right winger for Voigtbaton over on that side of the screen. Keep an eye on him. They're going to look for him often.
Get another look here at the Tempinen goal on the one-timer. It very much looked like that was going to be the winning goal. There's a shot there. Doesn't quite go. 35 seconds left. Puck over the blue line here for Mythic. Space, low shot. Hanselinho handles the rebound, plays it out as well.
Mythic's kind of backed off. That's why he was able to do it. I'm surprised they didn't kind of keep on him to try to force him to hold.
Final 10 seconds. Pick off here for Mythics. Bobby wants the wrap around. Hanselinho there, plays it out, and of course, it would be a trip to overtime for these two teams.
And how about it, too? We talked earlier about how overtimes in these playoffs just seem to be such a staple. Well, once again, an overtime here, our third out of 4 series so far, so not too surprising to say that we are getting a little bit of extra hockey before we wrap up the broadcast, but nevertheless, how about that late goal there from Mythics to tie things up? Got a couple of chances there late. Bobby thought maybe he might have had something with that wraparound. He got it to work earlier. He's gone for it a couple of times since and just didn't have its way, but nevertheless, an overtime game, no surprise whatsoever. And these two teams have been pretty even and pretty back and forth for the most part. So I don't think you could ask for much more way to end the broadcast than to get a little bit of extra hockey in there. Why not?
Well, some people might be able to come up with reasons. We move on nonetheless, and we will await to see on the winning side in this game. Again, a 1-0 series lead for Voigtbaton after game number 1. It looked like they had game 2 in the bag, but instead we go to overtime. Of course, the sudden death format here. Let's see how this one plays out. As Jamal wanted Potzloff on the backhand. The feed in front, another bouncing puck. This one corralled again. Voigtbaton back in control here. Now quickly, Mythic's trying to get going down the other way. Bit of space for Bobby. In front, they score! Mythics steal this game in overtime. They looked like they were done for, Major, at the end of the third. They tie it, they win it, and we have a 1-1 split in this series.
How about the valiant effort of Mythics finding their way to come back late after it looked like Voigtbaton pretty much had the kill shot? They scored just a minute and a half later to tie it up, and then early in this OT period, they find their way to that goal, a game-winning goal there from Mike's. Just got behind the defender there, really. I mean, that's kind of all it was. He got behind the defense, he got that pass to his stick, and was able to beat Hanselino on that backhand to win it for his team. And, you know, we were talking about how all three of our series prior to this one were 2-0. Hey, all of a sudden, we got a 1-1 series with Mythics stealing one from Void to Baton in overtime. A massive result for them, and what gives us a little bit of story to talk about heading into tomorrow as they wrap this thing up.
And a big win here for Mythics. There will be at least one series heading into their second match day that is guaranteed to not be a sweep. The only 1-1 splits out of our 4 quarterfinals matchups. How do you like that? As Mythics get a big time win here. They very much needed. One more look at it. On the backhand. Getting that puck past Hanselino. That is the difference maker. A 3-2 final score in this one.
You see the stats there, Tugi. Very even overall between the two sides. I mean, kind of representative of what we saw, I think, on the ice. Very even. Both teams had their runs. Both teams had their struggles. I don't think that these two games were necessarily the best effort from either side, but I think it's pretty fitting that both teams won one. Void to Baton were able to kind of take advantage of their opportunities in game one. Mythics were able to do the same in game two, and I think really the biggest difference in this one was that Mythics, they were able to adjust and find a little bit more offense, while Void to Baton didn't really feel like they were all that much better or worse from what they were in game one. Only the difference is that they did get some of those same bounces they got in game one. So I think a pretty deserving result on both sides, and it gives us something interesting to talk about heading into tomorrow. So it should be a lot of fun to see how this series wraps up.
Absolutely. With that, of course, we are a little bit overtime for today, so we'll look to wind things down. But again, as mentioned, tomorrow's broadcast will be the rest of this series. We're guaranteed now at least 3 more games, but with the way those first 2 games are played, never say never for how long that series could go. Again, as always, sportsgamer.gg for all the most up-to-date information for everything going on within the ECL. Of course, not just the Elite Division. We had a lot of Pro Division matchups, if not all of them at this point, wrap up. So, of course, you can take a look there to see who is moving on in the Pro Division or even lower. But for now, until tomorrow, thank you again for joining us, and we will be back. Void to Baton and Mythics, the rest of their series on tomorrow's broadcast. Don't miss it.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
As Tony has to kick it into the middle. Defense was there to take it away. Mise up ahead for Aro. Has speed, has space, and just for the Blackjacks. They have the opening goal of this series, and Major, you called them out. It's head of steam down the other way. Sends it in front. They score. They're not getting a look, I should say, with the replay. There is a delayed call here. There's a chance in front, just wide of the post. Costi down, wraparound. They're going to try to make something happen. Short-handed, Tony going for it. Has the puck low. Trying to get that blocker side post just back to 5-on-5 in the final few seconds. Down and in, throws it in front. Big save on the chance. Romalo Pekkas to shot from Tony, blocked down there. Again, we'll be playing the first 2 games of this series. We're on this broadcast as Musta Kulta
start that on the defensive end, and that's why block shots can be so important. It ended up being an opportunity on the other end, and then you have Alupekas over on that right side.
Shot from Psycho Skills, blocked down by Aro, and here he goes on the counterattack, full steam ahead. Big shot, better save. And then across, they score. Able to do so, at least with possession. As Timothy, another shot in the second period. And then Ferraro, he scores. The line avoids Tony on this occasion, sends it across. Ferraro tried to go back down low, interception, shot towards goal here. As Mise, good protection as well, wanted the quick wrap. 7:36 remaining. Time face off here, one for Mustakolta, glove stop for Costi.
Penalty for the Blackjacks, but a great job there for Mustakolta to draw it.
And then Ferraro, he scores. We'll end this game with a jump deke and a 5-1 victory for Mustakolta to kick off this series.
Going to be just something to keep an eye on here as we get this one started.
Going over the line, a pass that was off the mark but on target. Poke check by Tony. The Blackjacks down the other way. Kermit. And between the legs move found its way to Timothy. Scores. Just what the
Trickles its way in past that left pass. This is an even better look at it right here. It was actually the glove just didn't get all of it and then trickled in off of that pad. And
Tony denied. Cycle skills the shot. They score.
took them 5 minutes to score more goals in this game than they did in all of game one. And how about that just subtle little
zone? Space here for Kermit. He is gone. Breakaway. Scores. On. Breakaway. Scores. And an instant pause. Bring them all. Those Alupacus into the attacking zone. Aro off the goaltender's pass.
guys in it. If you go down by 4, just have a hard time seeing them come back from that sort of deficit.
Shot there, denied. Kermit for Villain, over for Timothy. More attack here for Mustakolta. A few seconds up in the period, they score. The game. Well, Major, that's what Mustakolta needed. Heading into the third period, they finally find a way through, and it's the defenders stepping up into the play to get it. Able to get that shot on as we will cover the conclusion of the series and the conclusion of this game. See again what Mythics are able to do. Turn on the road, White. Good chance there for Mythics. Their first shot of the game. With one shot officially on goal. Dix gets it to Bobby. He scores. And Mythics strike first. They regroup. Look at going with speed. Here's Goldislav. Poked away in front. There's the delay, and you have to wonder how much has it affected. Voitamatone. The commentator's curse is unbelievable this year, isn't it? 5 seconds even into the second period.
Yeah, that couldn't have been timed more perfectly. Is actually Tepeden as well to get that goal, his first of the series after.
Back in the line, Koloslav looking at a feed in front. Big step up hit there. Space now. Voitamatone. Potslov tries to go over. Tepeden the shot attempt. Another hit there. Takes down Flyer Kungan. Loses his stick as well. As a shot rings off the post at the final minute here. Good move from Eki to gain the line. Tepeden tried to take that quick shot.
Of being the game winner, so time starting to become a premium topic of discussion here in this game.
One again trying to find space here. They are on side. Potslov looks to go across. Eki. And looking at one-timer, they score.
Pre-game 2, the Eki to Tepeden, Tepeden to Eki. Those two have been the magic duo for the
Find insurance markers that they needed. They have space here, though. Bobby looking, they score.
How about that beautiful, beautiful pass to set that play up? I mean, just
All the man over the line here. Eki looking, good save, second chance off the post. Tepeden again, another save. Walk over the blue line here for Mythics. Space, low shot. 10 seconds, pick off here for Mythics. Bobby wants the wrap around. Mythic's trying to get going down the other way. Bit of space for Bobby in front. They score. Mythics steal this game in overtime. Off the face-off. Is able to recover this puck. Up ahead, Bobby trying to find a bit of space. The pass in front picked off.
But hey, nevertheless, first playoff game, first period, take some time to get things going every now and then.
Okay. Just drop back. Looking for a bit of space here. Finds Bobby on the left. He tries a short side shot. Hans Matone, good cycle, but can they find the space? Flyer Kungen stepping in. Eki the wraparound. He scores. Matone grabbed the first goal of game one.
And that's the thing with Eki. He's so dangerous from behind the net. We've seen so many times over the years him capitalize.
Tie up on the draw. Mythics back in control. A little bit of space there quickly. Dude, at this level as a forward, drops back to defense for this team. Has done so.
That ability, and it's just so fun to see them kind of rotate around these different spots based on what the rotation is.
Speaking of rotation, we have able to tie this game at 1, but Matone going to quickly look for that counter, and they get it. Flyer Kungen
back into his forward element a little bit, pushes up and just kind of passes that one right through, and it goes through Rico.
Hold on to it cleanly. What a good effort there. As Eki over the line, has space, set up the shot. Good stop. Final moments of the period. Number 1, our final quarterfinal to begin here in the Elite Division. As a shot on, gives a lot of trouble for Rico, and they score.
Never know when maybe Mythics will go down the other end and get that bounce in their favor, and it's a bounce there that gives this Voitmatone team that quick goal. But
speed has Koloslav cycle down low, try to go in front, puck bouncing around, and Hanselino.
You're coming back from a 3-0 deficit in about 21 minutes, so if you're Voitmatone, you don't want to take any chances. The more clock you can kill, the better.
Great individual effort from Tempe. I mean, it's a good job here by Mythics. For the moment, shutting down their blue line. A little bit of space here this time. Tempe in the short side. Down low, chance they score. And not able to secure that pass. Game number 1. 4-1 victory for Voitmatone.